Welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us. 5 on It Live begins in 10 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 9 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 8 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 7 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 6 minutes. Five on It Live begins in 5 on it live. Minutes. Five on it live begins in 4 minutes. Five on it live begins in 3 minutes. Five on it live begins in 2 minutes. Five on it live begins in 1 minute.
Live on it live.
Hello.
We did it. We're back. And, Mallory and I were just saying as we were coming into focus for everybody out there, how much we really love that theme music that has been provided care of Pontiac Strator and Mr. Waterwet, both on West Mineral Limited Records. And the song, check out the record that it's from. It's incredible. They're on Bandcamp. You can find it in the credits down below. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Yeah, I love that song. It really sets like a good nighttime groove vibe.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
And Mallory, not only welcome back to you, but welcome back to everybody else. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for joining us again.
This show is you. Our show is
Yeah.
you, and we're back. And the single easiest way to make it about you specifically is to call our number 712-345. Chris is gonna do this. There we go.
On it.
Yeah, I gotta get my aim down.
It is really hard to get.
I know.
Is like doing it. Oh, that's easier when I'm the only one here. Yeah. Yeah.
You do it very well.
712-345 on it or 712-345-6648.
That's it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Give us a call.
Speaking of just vibes, it's September 1st tomorrow. And every time, rent. Oh yeah, pay your rent tomorrow, everybody. I don't know, this time of the year, even though it's been a long time since I've been in school, always gives back to school vibes, and it's like it's unavoidable to me. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I think I even I sense it in August. Just generally like the way that the sun looks in the afternoon, and not even school, but I can feel the anxiety of like summer's almost over.
Yeah.
I'm almost back to school. I can smell the shopping bags from the clothes that I got for back to school. The shoes that I can't wear yet that are staring me down.
You go to the office supply store. Staples was the one for me. All the commercials on TV change, like in the back to school commercials.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I loved back to school shopping, especially for like binders and pencils and shit. That was extremely my jam. But I'm a Virgo, so that's like really a part of that personality is like.
So did you have like an incredible iconic mall that you went to for back to school?
Incredible, iconic. Those are I don't.
I mean,
there was
malls in my generation, they were iconic anyways because they were in any movie that I aspired to.
Yes,
like
there
adult,
was
right?
the mall.
The mall.
Absolutely.
Okay,
The
so
mall,
what's
and you
up
would
with
like
your mall?
see your friends there, a couple weeks before school. But also, I went to a private school, so I didn't get to enjoy that kind of shopping as much. Oh, actually, I think that's why I liked the supply shopping more because I had a uniform, so I didn't really get to do the like clothing back to school. That's why when you said mall, I was like, oh, it doesn't feel right for back to school. For me, it was like going to Staples.
Okay, so what were your favorite back to school picks from Staples?
I just loved picking out colors for each subject. Oh gosh, this is a thing that we could probably get into deeply. Like,
let's go.
What color is math?
Oh, wow. I know that battle.
Right?
I know that battle.
Right?
And then if you fuck it up.
But what color do you think math is?
You start social studies and the IES is it's off center, it was just a little bit more difficult than math and English, to like center on your trapper. Right?
Okay. Trapper. Speaking
keeper.
Of the keepers, the trapper keepers. Yeah, I really obsessed over finding the right binders, trapper keepers, fold.
Okay.
For the Canadians out there, duotangs.
Okay, let's find out what kind of person you are, Mallory. I mean, I feel like I have a good gist, but this will really solidify whatever.
This is like a personality test. Like what color?
How many Lamborghini trapper folders did you own?
Lamborghini?
Oh, you didn't see that coming. Yeah, yeah, Lamborghini. I think I had at least 4 different Lamborghini trappers inside of a also Lamborghini Trapper Keeper. Also, I had a poster on my wall that said, "Life is full of important choices," and it was a garage full of Lamborghinis and
Okay. I'm sorry. This is shocking to me right now. I feel like I know you pretty well.
Uh-huh.
Lamborghini was a real plot
Yeah,
twist.
I know, that's what I think of.
So
Those were
that's
those
like that was the theme of
that was
your
the theme. The sneakers looked like
wow.
Lamborghinis, the shorts looked like it was like Umbros, Jordans, and Lamborghini Trapper Keepers.
Huh.
That was the style back then. Umbros. So you really saw everybody's balls, which is also weird.
Well, that's the thing. Like it was a way to show your personality, right? It was like through these school supplies.
Yes, but also Umbro shorts, they were really wide-legged, and you literally saw each other's balls all the
Yeah.
time.
Oh, I took that really metaphorically. I was like, yeah, everybody's just showing their balls. But yeah, yes.
It was a
And
style.
literally, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it
yeah,
was a style. It was a
yeah,
style. Nobody ran away from it.
yeah. Wait, I
So what
really want to go back to
I'm
because you
sorry.
didn't answer because this is a big thing, is like
Mhm.
of subjects having colors. Cause like I would pick
Okay.
a different colored like folder binder for each subject.
Okay, I'll give you mine right off the bat.
Great.
I got it. I got it.
Great.
Science is obviously green.
Duh.
Okay, thank
Duh.
you.
Duh.
English is yellow. Social studies is blue, and math is red.
Okay,
Blue.
see, oh, interesting. I math is blue for me. It's
What?
social studies is red. I know.
What? Wait a
Well,
second.
state your
Okay,
case.
okay,
State
okay.
your case.
If
State your
you're
case.
out there right now, I'm gonna state my case. But before I state my case, I'd like to give you at home an opportunity. Why or why not should math be blue?
Yeah, let's really dig into this. Yeah.
I think you should go first,
Why math is blue?
please.
Well, okay. I mean, I feel so we all agree that science is green.
Yes.
Um, science and math buddies. Green and blue buddies.
Oh shit! You're
Oh.
so.
That was very unintentional, but actually
It really
appropriate
put
because
a.
I think I killed that argument.
You kind of put a
Where I mean,
punctuation
again,
on it.
for
Yeah.
me, there's like the cool colors, with the objective, like subject, the subjects where there is like a right and wrong.
What is red?
Pardon?
What is red then?
Social studies. Or English, and again, I might no, English is yellow. I will agree,
English is definitely yellow.
English can be yeah. Oh, English could be red. I don't know, but so I think my brain first does the sort of like differentiation in categories, like the more arts and
Mm.
subjective things, and then the like science and
Mhm.
objective things, and then color wise, the warm colors and the cool colors. You got to this is a really great argument. I haven't had to make this argument before,
Okay,
but I think I win. I think I win.
so then here's my philosophy
Yeah.
as I'm really considering it for you.
Great.
I obviously science is green because
Yeah.
of the earth and
Yeah.
and grass, of course. Okay, so then I would align social studies to blue because it's nice and considerate, like science. It's considerate and it's an observation
Okay.
science, right?
Good argument.
And math is more rigid
Harsh.
and harsh, right?
Okay.
And defined, and there's not a lot of comfort to it. It is what it is. It's grid paper. You find your grid paper
Ooh.
in the red folder.
Yeah, but the grids are always blue.
You make a great argument.
No, you made a great argument too. And I think I mean, I like this just says a lot about how differently our brains work, and I support everybody to make their own color decisions, but you made some good points.
Yeah. Did you so then okay, so then lastly, what
Yeah.
was on your Trapper Keeper?
Uh,
If you had the
Nothing.
folders, what was the binder? I had a Trapper Keeper because I was
Y
sick.
Yeah, you were. Um, yeah, I didn't have anything, but if I did, I would, like, make my own sort of, like, collage thing and put it, like, in the sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, I did that later on in life, but I started off with
I
Lamborghini.
mean, I did love me some Lisa Frank, but my
Okay,
mom wouldn't really
okay.
let me
Oh, really? Was
have
Lisa
those
Frank satanic? Is Lisa Frank satanic?
No. I'm sorry, Lisa Frank is, like, extremely my vibe. I think anybody who knows me know it's, like, unicorns and mermaids and pastels and shit. That's,
I do know you
extremely me.
to be very mermaid.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, I feel like I just remember I don't know if I wasn't allowed or if I didn't choose it, but I do remember feeling some restrictions, like, I just never got binders with, uh,
Hmm,
imagery on them.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is 0 Lamborghinis.
0 Lamborghinis. I think maybe because I didn't really know myself, and I
Okay.
it was hard for me to, like, assert who I was, so I was like, "I can't pick one thing, I can't co-sign this," so I think that's generally how I felt. Yeah.
I
But
feel you.
today, I absolutely would pick a Lisa Frank, like, cover. Yeah, it's, like, hands down. Not a Lamborghini. Would you pick a Lamborghini today?
For nostalgia purposes only.
Okay, okay.
But you know what? I looked in I because I was a Lamborghini guy, and obviously I've never been in a
I'm
Lamborghini.
sorry,
Um,
you're a Lamborghini guy.
well, if I'm truth be told, I'm more of a Ferrari Testarossa guy if given the choice. But if a Ferrari Testarossa isn't around, I'm taking the Lamborghini every time. Anyway, I used to play Micro Machines a lot with my friend, and we would always play these. And we thought as adults we would grow up, and we were talking about this a couple summers ago, and we were like, it can't be like insanely expensive to rent a Lamborghini for a couple hours and drive it around. Like we should drive around the cars that we used to play around as kids. We're
Great
adults now; we
idea,
can do that.
great
And
idea.
then we looked into it, and it was like they're pieces of shit. You know what I mean? They don't have power steering. They don't have air conditioning. The windows don't roll down. It's just
Okay.
incredibly terrible to drive. So it just, yeah. So I'm not really a Lamborghini guy anymore, but I appreciate the nostalgia and
Mhm.
the style of the Lamborghini is just so quintessential for like that moment. It's like that generic design that was on the Dixie cups that everybody was vibing
Mm,
off
mhm,
of,
mhm,
like,
mhm.
it's that era of just, like, right on the fucking nose, uh, style, style over everything. You does no? Doesn't
Yeah,
make
no,
sense?
that really checks out. Yeah, 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 that really checks out, and I mean, I feel like you're making me nostalgic, but also reminding me how jealous I would feel of my friends who had, like, styled binders and trapper keepers and stuff. Because I was like, "How do you know who you are? That's so cool."
Right.
Yeah,
It was always weird.
but
I don't wanna say weird because that has a negative connotation, but interesting were the people that had, like, like, all of their trappers were snakes. You know what I mean?
I didn't know any of those.
I had some kids that
I'm
were
sure
snake
you
people.
did.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
more baseball, football, but then the snake, you're like, "Oh, man,
What's going on with
I guess I'm
you?
sitting next to the snake kid this
Yeah.
semester. Watch out,
Cool.
watch out,
Cool.
watch out." Anyway, we've got a great show for everybody tonight.
We do.
I think so. We have, actually a special guest tonight,
Mhm.
um, a good friend of ours, a good friend of the show, a good friend generally. Everybody, I think, is gonna love her. What I would love to do right now is for you to call in, get on the line, talk to Pippa in the Pippa Zone.
Ooh,
Our
the
lovely
Pippa
operator.
zone.
Come to the Pippa zone.
Come to the
Speak
Pippa
with
zone.
our operator for a little bit. Chill out in the waiting lounge. And then by that time, you'll be able to talk to us and our special
And our
guest,
special
who
guest.
we will reveal right after this tiny commercial break.
Love the Conair cord keepers. Zip, zoom, and Conair solves the dangling cord problem. Cord keepers, the ones to wind up with. Folding travel or convenient midsize from Conair.
Pendergrass Celebrity Body Jeans.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Here you are.
Oh,
Say, what is that thing?
it's my trapper for me.
It sure is a lot neater than this.
That's because it traps my pages in so they won't fall out. And I've got a trapper folder for each subject.
That's pretty neat.
And the trapper keeper holds all my trappers. This flap even has a Velcro closure to keep everything inside.
Boy, I've got to get a trapper and get my act together.
If you do, I'll let you carry my books.
The Trapper and the Trapper Keeper. Get money-saving coupons on these meat products.
Now hard floors aren't hard to keep clean anymore. Introducing the powerful Floor Keeper from Dirt Devil. It's the only all-in-one that gets it done in 1, 2, 3. First, vacuum up any dry dirt and debris. Then wash and scrub the surface with the unique Power Scour revolving brush. Finally, vacuum up the used solution as you squeegee the floor dry. And you're left with a sparkling clean floor. The Dirt Devil Floor Keeper is great for cleaning all types of bare floors. Linoleum, tile, marble, even hardwoods. For this kind of cleaning power, you might expect to pay nearly $200. But the Dirt Devil Floor Keeper is just $96.23, and no messy buckets. So for your heavy-duty hard floor cleaning, get the Dirt Devil Floor Keeper, because nothing escapes the power of a Dirt Devil. Nothing. Order your Floor Keeper today for just $96.23. Visit dirtdevil.com or call now.
You know, I love TV. And one of the things that I love about live TV is having a live producer that can throw a goddamn Trapper Keeper commercial with Lori Loughlin in right under your nose when we're having a conversation about Lamborghinis.
Just a reminder to everybody who might not know who Lori Loughlin is. She's of Full House fame, Aunt Becky, and also famously recently scammed her kid into getting into university and did a little bit of time for it.
She'll still be Uncle Joey's girlfriend to me.
Uncle Jesse. Craig.
Hey, we promised everybody that we had a special guest, and indeed, I will deliver. We have a wonderful guest for us tonight, Mimi Cherry from the Series of Fortunate Events podcast, which bring Mimi on. Yeah. Hey.
Hey, Mimi.
Hi.
Hi, Mimi. How are you tonight? Welcome to the show. Welcome to our very first guest spot here on 5 on It Live. You're a friend of the show, I know, because you called in once and we had a long conversation about Jamaican beef patties, which I ended up eating. I ordered some, and the heartburn that I got from eating several beef patties in the middle of my show, but they were glorious. Hi, how are you? Enough about me. How are you, Mimi?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm coming in hot with a couple of opinions based on the top of the show, if I may.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You made it easy.
I took notes. I took notes. First of all, Lisa Gang Gang all day, every day. I don't know what you're talking about with your little fancy cars, but I guess boys be boys. And the real controversial opinion, math is obviously green because of money, duh. English is red because that's how you get like scratched through by the teacher. Science is blue because of the sky and the ocean and like elements. And then social science is orange, obviously, duh.
We didn't even have orange. Wow.
I could have brought an orange in, but I certainly wouldn't have been social.
I never had an orange colored thing. I never brought an orange, and I love
it. Yeah, the tabs,
Mimi,
the little tabs.
Thank you for those. Oh yeah, thank you for those hot takes. Okay, we got to get into this.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Green math money.
Yes.
It makes sense, but don't you
And
feel
you're in
like
the
it's a
green
little
accounting.
soft? Isn't
Yeah.
green a little? Did you ever have a? Okay, how about this is definitive. Did you ever have a green math book? No, all of my math books were red.
Honestly, back in Puerto Rico, they used to make us do like the covers on them. So I couldn't tell you they were all like paper brown with the name written on them
That
because,
was
they
that
would
was
get
so
cycled
cool.
through.
Yeah, by the time they made us do that, I was really into like crafting my own book
Yeah.
covers, and I made them
Yeah.
fucking awesome. What were yours? What were
Yeah.
yours like? Did you design them, the book covers? Did you put graffiti all over them and stuff?
I think well, the thing is that, so in Puerto Rico, I went to, and I related not only to the private school shopping because it was private school, but it was private Catholic school.
Ooh.
So it was pretty paper brown.
Yeah. I check that.
With like the class.
Okay, yeah, I went all out. I was like drawing pictures of ghouls and stuff on it. What about you, Mallory? How are your
Uh, it was so sad. I didn't get creative till I was an adult. I was just restricted a lot. I would do really perfect, like stenciled words of whatever the subject was. But yeah, it took me a long time to feel like I could get creative with stuff. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Something though I do want to ask you immediately, Mimi, because you were late to
Yes.
the uniform thing. Did your school get like casual days every once in a while where you could come in?
Yes, and that they were usually themed.
Oh, yours were themed. Okay, we did have
And
some.
sometimes you would have to buy into them too. Like you would have to like buy into like a fundraiser or something to even be able to like
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. So those were the days I know that I would go shopping because I was like, this is the one time to show my personality.
Yeah.
Do you relate to that at all?
Well, I have a very I treat myself a lot because growing up, like I had was a for if it seems bougie, like looking back, like, oh, I grew up with like we had a pool and we lived in the mountains, but it was very simple living for as much as like that's what it was. We had a lot of land and my grandfather was really creative with what we did with it. But like I had a tiny little room with like a zinc tile roof, and like when the mangoes would fall I would hear it, and I had like a little frog that slept in my windowsill. And I say all that to say that like my closet was like this big, and like like yeah, I don't like I don't remember shopping as a thing when I was a kid. Actually, there's like
Mm.
trauma that
Mhm.
my grandfather, so we lived on my grandfather's property for a long time, like in a little house on the property, and he was married to his then wife, and they had a son who's 4 years younger than me. Oh god. He doesn't know about this, but anyways, I've spoken about this to my mother. So his mom would sometimes pick us up from school and like take us to the mall and like take us to the toy store and like get him a toy.
What is that?
What?
And then, like, I
Hey,
would just watch
wait.
them.
What did you just say? They would get what?
They would get him a toy, and then I would just watch as, like, he got a toy.
Why
And
wouldn't
then,
you get
like
a
Oh,
toy?
him a toy. I thought, oh, okay. I thought it was a medical product.
Oh.
Him a
No.
toy.
Like what?
The him a
And they would
toy.
buy him
The
a
him a
toy.
toy, yeah.
Yeah.
And he probably has no memory of this, but it's, like, burned in my brain, and it's one of those things that, like, it's why I have a lot of little dolls, because for a long time, I felt like I was healing my inner child of never having my mommies would get me books, like, that's the one thing, like, I love to read, and that's why my English is so good, because I read a lot of books as a kid, but toys and like, art and things like that, I didn't have. And, yeah, so, like, I have these, like, visceral memories of, like, us going to the toy store, him picking something out because he had done well in school, and I just would watch, and yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
hurts my heart that you were left out of that. But
Okay.
may I say, you're doing an exceptional job at healing your inner child because your set looks exquisite.
Thank you.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Actually, yes. I
Yeah.
love it. I was gandering at the little clown behind you, that
Oh,
illustration. Yeah, it's
yes.
so it's it's like if John Wayne Gacy wasn't a killer.
This is a Valfrey print, and actually, it's really hard. This artist is an amazing artist. I love their art. I have another print of theirs, and it's hard to get their prints now. Yeah, the balloon clown Valfrey, Valfre, and actually, I think they're having an exhibit right now somewhere. So go see their art. They're somewhere right now being
I mean,
exhibited.
it's beautiful. Yeah, go check it out. That sounds awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, we were talking about
Keepers.
we were talking about
Been all over the place.
we were talking
But
about
colors and subjects and trapper keepers.
trapper
and
keepers. Did
uniforms.
you have a trapper keeper as a child?
I did, and I remember the ones that we used to have the clear ones. This is the one thing that I do remember customizing, like cutting pictures out and
you put it
sliding
in
it
there,
into
yeah.
the
But what was your base model before you got edgy and you know, like
well, again, for sure, like the Lisa Frank, unicorny mermaid, dolphin, like Caribbean, very Caribbean colors, like duh,
mhm.
and very of the time.
Did you know anybody with a snake trapper keeper?
Probably the boys, but I didn't talk to the boys like that. I wasn't one of those girls.
You know what? Very wise. Very, very wise.
Not till later, and then I became feral.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that? So you know what? Recently, I did a call. I did a television show, your podcast. Your podcast, a lovely, lovely, lovely podcast. I said it at the top, right? A
series of fortunate events.
Can you tell me where you got that name from?
Yes. Well, actually, funny that you ask. I was recording and I've been editing episode 100 that comes out probably tomorrow. And that came up in that one. They were asking me, I can only tell you that I was doing the Keith and the Girl podcasting guide, and part of the homework, I don't know what the exercise was, but it somehow led me to looking around. And I love the series of Unfortunate Events books. Callback. I love reading. And
okay, wait.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get Puerto Rican sometimes.
We don't like to classify in those terms, but
I do to myself.
I will say that we have a sensibility here where we can be very long-winded, and I'd really like to kind of unpack this because Mimi, one of the wonderful things about having you on for our show in particular, and anybody that's been listening at home knows that we're very, very interested in a outsider culture here and what binds people together in the middle of the night,
Yes.
And we both know you via our Daddy podcast, the Keith and the Girl podcast,
Daddy Keith.
and Daddy Keith. And so you were referencing them, and
Yes.
it's worth noting that you have been a listener and very active inside of their very active community, and one of really kind of a very early internet. Certainly
I'm an
a very
iconic
early
member of the Keith and the Girl
Hell
community.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So, but what's aside from iconic, you've been around for a
Yes.
long time, and you've seen how these internet cultures have transformed. It was really, as far as I know, I wasn't really active or a part of the Keith and the Girl community. Certainly the Keith and the Girl community online when it was Genesis, but I remember it being Wild West. This is before social media. It was like the message board version of social media.
There used to be a hottest listener category for a while there that like people would vote on the message boards, like the hottest female listener and the hottest male listener. And mind you, I did not win those, but I was in the running.
Okay. Interesting.
Again, lots to unpack there. But I mean, love that for you. Also, duh. But also, cool that was
it was wild.
Thing.
Oh yeah, it was wild.
So, and to be even more clear for anybody that's just kind of tuning in for the first time, we've kind of started the genesis of this podcast. One of them, back it up. This talk show. The genesis of it for us was being familiar with the Keith and the Girl podcast and having this organic community that grew aside from it, that was very nurturing and very, very interested in each other. So
I
can
mean, that's how
you
we all met, right?
Right,
Was through
right,
the
Yeah.
yeah.
right, absolutely.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about how you've seen these communities change and how you've stayed such an active member inside of these communities for so long?
To answer that immediate last part of the question, boundaries. And I had to learn them along the way. And being
Oh,
a part of these communities is part of what helped me learn along the way that I didn't have them back in the day,
uh-huh,
or they weren't as strong as they are now. I've
uh-huh,
learned that the internet can bring you real life connections, but the internet is not real life.
uh-huh.
And I had to learn that the hard way by being bullied off of it a couple of times in the Keith and the Girl community. Like, I have memories of logging off the forums and like not going back for a while because I had been like bullied in one way or another by, subsects of the community. But it's given me a tough skin, and I now don't phase as easily because
So
it's
wait,
just,
wait,
it is
clarify
what it
that for
is.
me. So you were actually bullied inside of these
Oh,
communities.
famously, Team Hater was like a thing.
Okay, you have to.
And
Not famously to me.
yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. I honestly, I had no idea about this. So,
Yes. It's
so
come
then
up
you
a couple
really
of times
felt.
in chat, so I thought you were around when that came up. But I'm assuming that people are watching this know that, and that's deep lore, and I apologize.
So
No
then tell us,
apologies.
can you tell us a little bit about what my initial questions is, what is it like? What was it like to be like an early adopter of like negative internet hate? And then
Mm,
secondly, why did you choose to make it through it with that? Like, you could have just bounced out, you could have disappeared, but
I did.
you are still a member of that community, or what brought you back? That's even more
Sure.
interesting to me.
Mhm.
What is the draw?
Whew, where's the couch?
Right here.
Um
Welcome to 5 on It Live. Call now, 712-345 on It. If you want to get deep with us, we're going there.
Okay, so distill that felt like a very big question. Mallory, distill it down to me like because that kind of like overwhelmed me a little bit. Mallory, distill that into a question that I can answer now, because I got a little lost there in the
I think
sauce.
I think we'd like to hear as much as you would be comfortable sharing, like what kept you coming back, I
There we
guess,
go.
given your
Um,
experience.
yes, yes. What did keep me coming back? Well, the community, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, well, that and like honestly, habits too, and rituals, and it had become such a part of my life listening to the show, right? So like it all comes back, the genesis, right? The root of this specific tree is the Keith and the Girl podcast,
Mhm.
KTT.com, and it was such a part of my life and my ritual to listen to it, to have them in my ears, to have them as
Mm.
like friends in my head. And
Mhm.
even when I got bullied out of the community, or like I bullied myself, right, or whatever, however you want to interpret it, I definitely took a break, and I had to take a break a couple times because things happen, and interactions happen, and things get weird. But it was still my community at the end of the day in a weird part, and I was so
Mm.
invested in it. And now at this point, it's like, it's my internet family.
What made it
And
Well,
feel like your community, that ownership? What was that?
because well, this was before I found drag and the queerdos. And
Okay.
so this was my corner of little weirdos and nerds.
Mhm.
And so, and it was okay for me to be weird and nerdy. And
Gotcha.
then I found drag, and then I found myself even more. And then I felt even more at home and more myself. And, then I blossomed even more. So yeah.
I do want to, yeah, because I want to hear about your, engagement in the drag world, and, all the amazing guests that you're having on your podcast. And I think I just want to point out something that I've been thinking about a lot in terms of like what community means and looks like. And I
Yeah.
think for me it's really, and I think, I didn't know also, I mean, I've heard whispers of and like hints at your experience in the Keith and the Girl community, but yeah, I'm not super familiar with your whole journey. And for me, community doesn't mean you're around like the same people where everybody agrees on anything. Like that is not community to me. Like for me, a community is a group of people who have shared things and are invested and committed to being together and figuring out how to be together. And I think that's something I have absolutely experienced, like in our Wednesday night chat, where, and I'm not super interested. I mean, I think it is important for everybody to have like spaces that are protected. You know, marginalized people, like we need protected spaces, but I do
true
think
community has conflict.
Exactly.
True community has conflict resolution.
Exactly. That like we need to be able to be together in conflict and disagree on things. And for it to, you know, to figure out what does it mean when, you know, somebody does or says a thing that feels bad. We don't just cast them out. Like, how do we work through that? How do we work through that together? You know, and I think that's what you're speaking to, because
And I will say, but before I forget,
okay,
because I will forget it, it's my ADD brain. So there's like two main members that were kind of like the forefront of like this team hater. One of them is no longer with us. May she rest in peace, or whatever. And the other one, we made peace along the way, and I now consider them a good friend, and they are a part of this KTT. And that's that goes back to the why I came back.
Beautiful.
Because I learned, it was part of learning conflict resolution. It was part of learning that community is sometimes messy, and you know, and we grow together. We grow from the messy.
I think like it needs to be messy.
Absolutely. And let's keep on rolling there. But I do want to bring a caller in to the mix.
Thank you.
If you don't mind.
Please do.
Caller, are you on the line?
Yes.
Hi, caller. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. Do you mind giving us your name and what are you calling to talk about tonight?
This is Royce.
Hey, Royce.
Hi, Royce.
And I just want to compliment you on the way the show looks now. I think I watched it from the first episode, and it's like going from old computer terms would be 480 to 1080p.
Hey, you know what? Quite literally there,
Quite
Royce.
literally, right?
We didn't realize that there were other buttons that we could go to in the early stages. But you know what? It's all part of it for you. We love coming to growing into ourselves in front of your eyes, and I'm tickled. I won't speak for Mallory, but I'm tickled that you noticed.
I love that you noticed too. And it's an example of like we're trying to like learn and grow in public. So I think it's really important for people to get comfortable with, like, you know, not everything has to be polished immediately. We should allow each other, you know, everybody to see how we evolve and grow.
Definitely. I think you're taking off.
Well, that's all right. And so the best guest of the night is
Yeah, hell yeah, you were.
So what did you call to talk about tonight, Royce? Any of the topics that we brought up so far kind of suit your fancy?
Yeah, just the topic. All of your topics are so wide open. I mean, you could have many shows on the topics, because on this one, I just started thinking of so many, and I said, I don't really know much in depth about a lot of them. And one of them particularly, as far as keepers go, I said, am I my brother's keeper? Is that what that means?
That's
and
cliche.
Then I thought a little bit further, and I said, am I keeping someone? Is someone keeping me? And then I thought about Mallory. And I'm sorry now, Mallory. I'll apologize up front. And I said, I'm keeping Mallory. Or is Mallory keeping me?
Explain.
Well, that's interesting. Can you, say more about what that means?
Is this one of the crows calling in?
Well, I have to. I don't know if you're familiar with the little book, The Little Prince?
Mm-hmm.
Are you?
Mallory is.
I mean,
I think
I
I've heard
am.
of it. Yeah, I
I
think
don't
El
know it.
Principito is how I
you
read it
know,
as a kid.
and you know when the little fox said, "Well, you tamed me."
Okay.
It's kind of that situation, you know. You tamed me, so now I belong to you.
Holy shit! That you know what? I'm trying to understand if this is. Try to help me understand exactly where you're going with this, Royce.
Okay.
Because right now it feels very.
Are you saying you're the fox?
Yeah, well, it seems to me. Go.
Yeah.
I just we would
have
like to learn more about what you mean with the language that you're
Yeah.
using. Like
You will
tamed.
have
Like,
to-
are you saying that I tamed you in some way?
It could be either way, and I'm talking to you through a translator so that you can hear me and understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because
wow,
if if you heard me in my real voice, I don't know that you would understand me.
We're using a voice modulator?
Yeah. Do
It
you
is
want
the
to hear my
crow.
real voice?
Yeah. So I guess
What?
this is one of my crows.
oh, this
My
this
real
person is
voice.
playing.
The
Oh,
crows.
I get it, Royce. You're playing a crow.
Oh, it's one of my crows.
Let me put the. I'm back on the translator now.
Great.
I know I said my name. My name was Royce, but
Yes.
this is really Ivan.
Ivan, Ivan,
I
I'm
knew it was
so
one of the crows.
happy that you
Jesus
found.
Well,
I mean,
you invited me. I heard
yeah,
you say earlier that you said you wondered if I followed you. I do, and I have a lot to say to you, but I really don't want to say it on the air. So maybe tomorrow I'll talk to you
That's fair.
in my own voice.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow on my balcony, and you can use your language. We're learning how to communicate with each
wanted
other
you
more.
to know. Just wanted you to know how I felt about you.
Wow. Wow. I'm really glad
I've
that we
never
got
talked to a
to.
crow. I'm
Wow.
so honored.
I mean, I have a lot, but not in this way.
Yeah, actually, I do talk to crows.
Yeah. Relieved to
Okay,
hear that it's a crow that I'm talking to. That is
wait,
found a translation.
Back to
You're
normal life.
relieved to find out it's a crow that's calling us. I mean,
We're going
I
with
apologize.
a crow.
yeah,
I
Royce.
apologize
This was
up front.
no, yeah.
No, you did.
Yeah,
Yeah. You warned
you
us.
did apologize in the beginning, and what was strange. What's strange about it, and I just want to put it out there so I can just I can sense if I'm losing my fucking mind or not. But you know, unexpected calls from crows, I didn't realize kind of also sound like stalkers. I get the Venn diagram here because of the crows
get
and the
it.
gang and the following and the protection.
You get
and
it.
under a certain guys, like even a guardian angel can be like a creepy fucker that's just following you around and giving you good luck. So
Low key.
yeah, forgive my sweaty brow there, Royce, but I thought we were getting into a situation.
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
That's why
No.
I did.
I think we were all like, what kind of area are we entering into?
That's why I figured it was one of the crows.
I'm so
No,
glad you said that.
Thank God for the delay.
Yeah. All right. So then,
And the
Royce,
translator.
And the translator.
So then, Royce, as your human version
we
and
had to
not
have it.
as the Ivan bit,
Right.
who are you? How are you? Thank you for calling in.
I'm good.
Anyways, is there anything that Royce might want to say?
Well, I did when I saw the little prompt. I said keepers, and I was thinking about keeper of what? And I think of my son and daughter having boyfriends and girlfriends, and I say, oh, that's a keeper, or oh, that one's a keeper. And I said, that's a little deep. I don't know really anything much about that.
No,
So
you know what? That's a little worm that I could bite, and
Oh no, something's going on with Craig's
forgive me,
might be your cord.
forgive me, guys, forgive me. Yeah, I popped my cord. Live television, you know what I mean,
I
Royce?
tend to have that effect on people.
I got you.
So, that's a keeper. First of all, my question is to you: Are you in a stable relationship, a long-term stable relationship that has gone forever? Did you find that keeper and then have that sense like this is a keeper? And then it seems to me that keeper is for life. So unpack that for me. Unpack that for me. Are you one of those people that found a keeper and you're still involved for life?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And how long? Do you mind if I ask the nature of that relationship and how long it was?
Oh yeah, my wife and a while.
Okay,
I'll tell
a
you more
while.
later.
It's okay.
Only share as much as you
Mallory,
want to.
there's more.
I'm sorry?
I said, Mallory, there's more, but it's not just for Mallory. It's just for both of you.
I'm chopped liver.
You know what, Mimi? What do you think? Because you know what?
The thing is,
Mimi,
I don't have the sound, so I see Mimi, but I don't know what's going on. So she's not chopped liver at all.
Oh, you don't hear Mimi?
Well, I was understanding that really I shouldn't have the sound up. That would cause some
But
kind of feedback.
you don't hear Mimi through the through.
But what
You hear me now.
I was going to rewatch it. I'll rewatch it later.
Okay, well that makes sense.
When I can see your sweaty brow and Mallory's
in my
funny look.
Yep, my funny looks. I got a lot of those.
Oh,
Royce,
you know
Ivan,
what?
you know me well. Yes, I got a lot of funny looks. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you for calling in, and you know
bet.
what? Listen back,
I wonder,
and you know what? Write us a letter and tell us how you think this went.
Do you want me to tell you one little tidbit, or you got time?
Sure.
Oh, I'm dying to hear this.
Yeah.
You sure?
Oh yeah.
I can't say no.
I hated to call in because you two by yourselves are so entertaining, and it's much better than a movie, because in a movie you don't get to see the main character the whole time in the full screen like you do with you two. And it's just so much fun to watch you, and you're very Craig. He uses his hands some, but he talks with his face, and it's so.
Not wrong.
Not his butt cheeks.
Yeah.
Mallory,
oh well.
Mallory's sitting there like Princess Leia, but she talks with her hands, and that's just wonderful.
I do
Plus,
talk with
she's
my
got
hands a lot.
the best nails I've ever seen.
Thank you
I try to
much.
keep up with the colors, but I think they pretty much stay the same.
They do. Oh.
And
They do not stay the same.
I'll keep up with them.
Well, Royce, you know what? I want you to continue to watch this movie, and follow whichever character you feel suited best. And thank you so much for calling.
Thank you for calling, Royce.
Yeah, thank you so much.
My pleasure. I'll try again later.
Have a safe night.
Bye.
All right.
Yep.
Bye.
Sorry, my translator broke.
No, that was good. Heard that loud and clear.
Yeah, my translator was working.
You know,
It's
y'all,
funny.
think I might. I'm sorry. I think I might need a break soon after that.
Sure.
I think I'd like to take a break as well.
I hope it's
Yeah,
okay.
me too.
And
I need a
kind of
power
sort everybody out.
I think we need a little. Yeah.
Mallory, why don't you do the honors?
Yeah. Hey, producer Chris, can you just take me out of this energy right now? Thanks.
But we're gonna stop them anyway! Send in the Marines! We're the Space Marines. Drake, Ripley, A-Bone, Bishop, and I'm Hicks, armed with the latest high-tech heavy metal.
Look out, Hicks! The Queen's gonna crown ya! My bug rocker's on a roll! Bull alien attacking! Eat torch, bug brain!
Alien invasion problem? Send in the Marines!
Aliens! Send in the Marines!
Space Marines! Aliens!
There's new action in the universe from Marvel superheroes.
Spider-Man! Dr. Octopus! I'll bend Dr. Octopus in half, Captain America. No time, Hawk. My shield will cut him down to size. Meet your doom, Surfer. Not so fast, Doom. Take him, Surfer.
Marvel superheroes are each sold separately from Toy Biz.
今日は君にミクロマンのニューマシンを紹介しよう。スピードと脱出機能を備えたスピードジャンパー、空中走行、地上走行自由自在のエアーローダー、鉄の壁ならどこでも走るクライムリーダー、宇宙遊泳ができるミクロ NASA、 ずらり揃ったミクロマンマシーン78。君のミクロマンはどのマシーンに乗せる？
Good evening. Welcome to the Fox Halloween Bash, brought to you by Subway.
Subway, now that's a sandwich.
Now here's our favorite fiend, the Crypt Keeper.
Oh, there! Why, hello, kiddies. Just making sure my Halloween decor is a cut above the rest. Coming up, some fiendish fun with your favorite Fox stars from Universal Studios, Florida. But first, a peek at those twisted tees from 90210.
Well, that was a time and a half. I was happy to speak to my friend Ivan.
Yeah. You know what? I think that I no offense, Mallory, and no offense to Ivan at home, but I think I'm banning Royce
Crows?
from calling in. Yeah.
Crows.
Because I think it could be the translation and
That translator was broken.
Yeah, because crows sound a lot like stalkers to me. Oddly, like maybe it's something, but that
we don't
frequency
know.
on that translator.
Maybe we don't know.
And again, just there was.
I think you know where it really got me.
But
They
I also
pointed out the sweat on my brow, and it's okay for me to do, but when somebody else tells me that I'm nervous, it means it's like a real call out.
And I think maybe that's what Craig, you and I have to sort of get used to. Like, people are watching us and noticing us, and so maybe it's
Stop
not
noticing me.
Well, then
stop looking at me.
Maybe
Stop
we should be
looking
doing this.
Yeah.
I think that just kind of raised, it's like, oh, I am being seen, which, like, duh.
Well, interesting
it's
enough.
an odd reminder once in a while.
Yeah.
Interesting enough. And you know what? I think that from now on, when I say that I don't think that there's anybody that could kind of hinder our flow of things or vibe, I'm going to knock on wood next time I say. In fact, I'm going to knock on it right now.
I don't think that hindered. It was a twist I wasn't expecting.
I had a sweaty brow. Mimi.
Yes, my dear.
So we were talking earlier, and forgive me, please, we've got open lines, call in. But in the meantime, Mimi, we were talking earlier about kind of falling out and then coming back in a familial way to these online communities that you loved, and that you nurtured and you felt ownership over. And you kind of hinted that now you're in a drag community, which talk to us about that, because I right off the bat, I think that some people at home might be saying, This doesn't seem like the typical drag queen. So explain that to us.
What? Yeah, because I totally. Thank you, Craig. I did wake up like this.
Yeah, babe, you look great. You look marvelous. You know what I'm saying. I mean, what is it,
It's funny
baby?
that you
What
say
is the
that because
transition?
yeah, it's funny that you say that because I joke that my boomer ex-boyfriend who I talk to once in a while, I had mentioned to him recently, like, oh yeah, I'm getting ready to do drag because I actually did drag a week ago. I got my first booking, like my actual first booking. I actually, first concept realized fully. And he's like, "You're not a man." And I'm like, "Haha, you're old."
You see how I was a bit gentler. I was a bit gentler, but yeah, okay, you understand.
Yeah.
And I'm really offering the platform to kind of talk about
Of
that
course,
because
yeah.
it seems to me that term has broadened and
It
you're on the edge
has.
of it. So let's talk about it.
Yes. Well, so bio queens, as they used to be referred, are not actually that new of a thing, but they definitely were fringe of the fringe of the fringe of a fringe, right? So imagine a fringe that has a fringe that has a fringe. In the last 10 years or so, they've become very much more interwoven in terms of just, AFABs. So anybody assigned female at birth, whether it's drag kings or drag queens. And there's also a lot of creature drag too, like monster drag and creature drag and alien drag. So like drag has become performance art
So
more
then what?
than a man dressing as a woman.
Okay. So what is it was so then if I were using the term drag correctly,
Sure.
just the term drag alone, what does that mean now?
Well, when you say now, but so
Yeah.
drag, right?
Mhm, mhm.
The acronym has been quoted to be dressing resembling as a girl. When
Mhm.
it was like, oh, men dressing up to be Shakespeare parts or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
I know it as that acronym. So
Yeah. RuPaul says we're all born naked and the rest is drag.
Mhm.
So, like there's an ample spectrum
Mm.
to it. So sometimes we say like that
Mother Rue just
yes.
like
Like
let
there's
me let
daytime
me clarify
drag.
for everybody. Okay, I respect that. And so then how did you find that community being on the fringe, on the fringe, on the fringe, on the fringe, right? This
Sure.
like small subsect of drag. How do you feel as a participant inside of this community that maybe for a long time didn't necessarily include that fringe?
Oh, there's been times I mean, again, it's in the last 5 to 10 years, more maybe 5. I want to credit Oaklash a lot. So Oaklash has been around for 7 years in terms of creating a much more safer and inclusive space. I've been in queer spaces where, again, as a woman, and I I read very cisgender straight. Like I'm too queer for the straights and too straight for the queers. It's been like a thing that like I'm battling with trying to date right now. And for a long time, there were many queer spaces that like were just, straight, I mean, not straight, cisgender, gay, white men. And if you're not like, it's funny because for a long time, actually, the way that I found myself in the community right before I started the podcast, I am a photographer. And so I would show up to drag shows with my camera. And so if I had my camera, the boys would talk to me because they wanted their picture taken. But the rest of the time, I was kind of invisible. And since Oaklash has come around, Oaklash has been always very
When you
inclusive.
say boys,
And
you mean the performers, not the audience.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, no, and the audience, like because
Mhm.
when you're taking pictures at a club,
Right,
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 at a
right.
party, you're taking pictures of everybody. So you're taking pictures of the party goers, you're taking pictures of the performers, you're taking pictures of everybody. And so, like the boys in the crowd, the everybody's at the club. If you have a camera in your hand and you're a girl that looks like me, they love you. If you don't have a camera in your hand, you barely exist. Like sometimes they bump into you, like walking by you. So, you know.
Now, why do you wait? So that's interesting to me
Yeah.
because
So
like
fringe of a fringe of a fringe of a fringe.
right,
But it's
and
not like that as much anymore. So I do credit spaces like the Stud, the Port Bar, which is no longer with us, Fluid 510. Like there are spaces that, Oaklash, again, I'll keep saying Oaklash, for sure, that like have broken those weird misogynistic, trappings.
Interesting. Misogynistic.
Oh, there's
Oh,
misogyny in the
yeah.
queer community.
Well, I don't doubt that, but I mean that the specific thing that we were just kind of speaking about. That's interesting. That like I wasn't considering it. So like that would have been the term, like misogynistic being the thing, and more just like you were an outsider inside of an outsider kind of scene.
Like a part of, you know, me being seen as an outsider in those contexts, I think is often misogynistic when it's like cis gay men
Like, I'm just as queer as
who
the
don't
gay man
recognize
next to
you as
me.
queer, you know, because of
Exactly.
how you look.
Oh, you're saying because they weren't recognizing you
You
as
as a part of
queer
their
as part.
community, which
Oh,
which again
And I'm not some like little butch lesbian that's like walking around, you know, in like jeans and like boots. You know what I mean?
Did you
Yeah.
Again,
feel like they were
presenting the way
treated
that I
differently?
do.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, I think that
Yes.
this is like
Interesting.
so deep in drag, and I love that it's being expanded more because gender is a performance. We are all performing
Yes.
gender always, and like it shouldn't just be
Yes.
exclusive to, you know, like somebody performing the opposite gender. You know, that's why I
Yes.
love
Exactly.
that like it is being opened up to everybody who wants to maybe perform as a different gender or just different identity than themselves, or a more exaggerated identity of
Exactly.
themselves, you
It's a
know?
hyper. It's a
Yeah.
hyper feminine, hyper masculine,
Yeah.
hyper colorful. And actually funny, I was just having a similar conversation with my drag mother and a couple people, and I was saying that recently, you know, one of the reasons why I do put a little bit more effort into like putting a little fake hair in, putting some flowers in, putting, you know, wearing something cute is because at least the gays and the dolls, they like looking at something cute. So now I get a little bit more. Now they're not bumping into me. Now they're like telling me that I look cute. But like I have to put like I can't just show up in my yoga pants and my t-shirt.
How
Then
do you
like I
feel
blend into
about
the
that?
wall.
How do you feel
It's
about that?
interesting. It's an interesting, but now I consider myself a walking performance art. So like
Oh, cool.
because you know for a long time it used to like throw me off when people would be like, "Oh, Mimi Cherry," and I'm like, "What? You know me?" And now I'm like, "Duh, of course you should know me." So like
That's
I
who
go to
I
the gym with
am.
like my eyebrows on and my lipstick on because you never know who's gonna be there.
That's really interesting. I feel like I want to slow down around that like a part of you doing this performance always is so that you are seen in a certain way.
I
I
don't
mean, which
want
is
to
just
be
so
invisible
relatable.
anymore.
I think, yeah, like so relatable.
I think it really boils down to that. I was starting to feel invisible for a bit.
Oof.
And I think also like as a lady who's, you know, no longer in her 20s and a lot of that too,
Wait,
it's
I'm
like
sorry. Wait, Mimi, I'm sorry. Slow down, rather. Can you like say more about why you felt the need to do a voice in that, like when you're described,
I don't
like
know
what does
why.
that mean to you? Like, how do you feel about a lady in your 20s? Like, what is that?
Because it's like the whole like, you know, there's so many layers to it, right? Because like oh so often like I'll say, "Oh, I'm 44," and I'll get like, "You don't look 44," but like what does that even mean? And like
So
blah blah blah. But for a minute, you know, I was and again, I've lost weight. Like I just was but a lot of that was like me being depressed and like piling things on kind of subconsciously to like protect myself because I've been sexualized for so much of my life. And
Mhm.
now I'm trying to come back to feeling fabulous and cunty and beautiful
You're like
and wanting
reclaiming that.
attention, but not necessarily sexualized, which I battle with too, like because I'm so used to that.
Oh, hear
That's
that.
interesting.
Yeah, fucking hear that.
Yeah,
Oh, there's
that's always a very tough a tough like rope to walk, right?
Mhm.
Like how do I present myself how do I present eccentrically without turning up the sex or something like that? Because it feels like that is the peacock. That those are
Yeah.
the bright colors, like how attractive you are. And attractive is almost a measure of the intent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a weird way. Like how much effort are you putting into it? Sometimes how attractive it appears or how attractive you feel inside of it.
For sure.
I
Yeah,
think that this is where it gets really tricky is like again, attraction is a deeply subjective thing, but then there are things culturally that are sexualized, you know, that especially for
Yes.
women, female presenting people that like and I know I have a lot of femmes in my life who grapple with this a lot, where it's like they just love heels, lipstick, dressing up, boobs out, and it's not, necessarily to be sexualized, but like
9
given
out
our
of 10 times, it's for the gays and the girls, but, like,
exactly,
there is
but
that
given our culture,
but there
it's
is that 10 out
unavoidable.
of 10th time that it is
Sure.
like, I'm like, "Oh, but I do want the hot guy in the gym to, like, be
Sure.
into me." You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
so
You're human. Yeah.
I had an Austrian boss once named
Okay.
Manuela, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And so I worked at this kind of hip hotel. I was a concierge there, and she was my direct boss. And picture Austrian woman, general manager of trendy hotel in New York City, and you've probably got a pretty good picture. And we had a very interesting relationship where she was very critical and very, very like, I'm not easy to like manage, you know what I mean? She managed me very well. I was always like right on point around her, and it was a fun game for me, you know what I mean? Like I enjoyed it when she yelled at me, and I enjoyed getting right back into line as well. So one Thanksgiving, we were both the only people working, and the chef in the restaurant made us a little Thanksgiving supper, and we shared it. We went and ate it together, and we would sometimes eat together, and she would very rarely say anything. It was a very uncomfortable thing, and I kind of enjoyed that too, just like nibbling on my food, waiting for her to say something and nothing, And we're eating our Thanksgiving dinner, and she said, do you know what I like real like she's just like this thought just occurred to her, and she said, do you know, Craig, do you know what I think that the downfall of Western civilization is? And I said,
That's a loaded question.
yeah, right. Over Thanksgiving. And then no, Manuela, what?
What
Yeah,
is
what
it?
is it? And she said, when people stopped wearing heel and leather shoes.
Oh, yeah. Some people say when people stop dressing up for flights.
And so,
Same
so
energy.
I said, you think that's it? And she said, I don't
Not
remember
slavery?
exactly her words, but the essence was, it frames the body right, and it puts you in the right mindset. And I thought about that a lot because she's a very serious person, and she's not one of those people that says things flippantly. And of course, it
Sure.
was said tongue in cheek. Like it was not like, she knew it was a
Right.
little bit of a
Right.
Joshy thing, but I know she was trying to communicate something to me.
Mhm,
You know what
mhm,
I mean?
mhm.
And so I remember the next time that like a pair of heels or like little pumps were around that I could slide my feet into.
You put them on.
I remember doing it, and it wasn't like my first time, but I remember doing it. And because of that conversation, I
How'd you feel?
immediately felt like this, like my back straightened out, right? The way that I had to kind of balance my body, I could feel my ass. Like it was
Mm.
impossible to not notice my ass because it was
Mhm.
in such a different relationship to
Oh,
me
yeah.
in that moment while I was wearing those pumps.
Oh,
So
yeah.
a long-winded story, but to go back to where we began, there is something about it. There is something about like taking yourself out of the purely purposeful uh, 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 utilization of clothing, right? Into is that my dog?
We got some dogs around.
um,
We welcome all dogs here.
Yeah, Mimi's dog is
Yeah.
a real gem. I met her dog, but so anyway, the idea that the clothes do make the person, not just mentally, but
Yeah.
literally physically, and
Oh, yeah,
that
that's why I
was the
love my little
underscore here.
ballet core moment that I'm in lately because I'm entering my adorable era at 45, and I'm totally fucking embracing it.
And so, like, there are helpful tools to get there in a very weird way and pull yourself out of your body, and very specifically, like I said, the relationship that you have with your own body physically changes due to what you're wearing. Another reference, I took a cross-country trip and I had a dress in the bag, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put on a dress and just slip into the front car seat and, start driving.
I love these shades of crossy that you have, Craig.
I've driven cross country a million times. For whatever reason, I never happened to wear a dress, but this time
Crossy
I
on
did.
a crossy.
And I'm telling you, 30 minutes into the trip, I thought, what the fuck am I ever driving with a waistline for? It just makes more sense. And my whole tempo, my whole body and being was a totally different relationship sitting in that car seat than I've ever experienced before.
Yeah.
So there's like a context utilization for whether you're wearing a corset and pumps or whether you're wearing a ball gown or whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note, that it's different for every person. Like items of clothing hit different for every person.
Yes.
Like skirts, dresses feel horrible on me. Like even when I'm by myself, like I do not feel free. I feel naked. It feels bad. Like I hate it, and so I think it's really important to acknowledge that like what we wear absolutely does affect like our literal like posturing and how we are in the world, but it is different for everybody.
I do understand that, and you don't hear people talk about that with skirts a lot. There's that, but when I've ever worn a dress, I've gone out, and even on that road trip, I remember stopping and going in someplace to eat. And it's not that I felt uncomfortable about being in a dress. It's that I felt uncomfortable about not having the protection and like tightness around my legs and crotch. That's feels
why
like my
I'm
suit
team
of armor.
skort. I'm team skort, and I've been rocking the skort. Shout out Pop Flex. I'm trying to please sponsor me, Pop Flex. I go to the gym in my little skirts, and I pump it out on the treadmill to brat. It's been a brat summer, and then I practice my splits for 30 minutes, and everybody in the gym stares at me, which is why I thought the hottest guy in the gym was into me. But no, it's because I'm doing splits and skirts. That's gonna be the name of my biography. Splits and skirts.
I love that, Mimi. I love that.
My new spinoff podcast.
Splits and skirts. Hell yeah!
Actually, you know what? I need to write that down as merch idea. I'm writing that down.
You should absolutely splits
for the Patreon.
Oh, wait a second! It sounds like.
Oh my god!
It sounds like we have a caller on the line, and I actually.
Okay. This may.
Wait a second, Pizza. Do you hear me? No,
live
they
TV,
don't.
baby.
You know what?
Okay,
It sounds like we've got a call lined up, and maybe there's a little bit of a line mix up. Pizza, if you hear me, hold on. If you don't hear me, Chris, you do, and tell Pizza to hold on. Let's go to a music video, and then when we get back from that music video, let's take a call. Mimi, do you mind sticking around and taking another
Mimi,
call?
please. We want
Meow.
I'm gonna take that as a yes.
That's
Chris?
yes.
Let's go. And actually, you know what? Let's go. We had a musical guest tonight, and it was an unfortunate sequence of events that led us to a cancellation. So, in lieu of our musical guest slot, we're going back to some music videos, but this time I want to line this up. This is a wonderful band called the Netherlands out of New York City. This is their song and video. I hope you enjoy it and check them out.
Shape-shifting shell, transmutine. For my sway in the darkness.
And thank you to the Netherlands, Timo Ellis. Check him out for letting us use that music video. I loved it. And welcome back with Mimi Cherry from the
Series of Fortunate Events pod.
Series of Fortunate Events pod.
Cast.
Series of Fortunate Events pod. I still
Podcast.
want to get into that. We do have a caller on the line.
Yes!
Caller, are you here?
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. What up? What up, caller? And I think I know who you are, but why don't you tell everybody who you are?
It's your boy Pizza from the chat. Yo, what
up?
Amazing.
I was hoping you would call
up, y'all?
Pizza. You were the only person I wanted to hear from.
Oh.
Oh, Mimi Cherry, that's super sweet. The God, Mimi Cherry, shout out.
So Pizza, what's on your mind tonight?
You know what? Not much. I guess that last caller was controversial.
Slightly controversial. Well, you know what? The thing is, I didn't realize that sometimes animals speak. They don't realize how like overbearing witness and care come off to the human race. You know?
Animals are sometimes neurospicy, and they might not get cues, as in social ones.
Like, I really should have known because I'm talking to my crows all day, every day. So, like, I should have like picked up on the vibes. But you know, again, I don't know. We don't know who's watching or calling, and the level of detail was a little curious. But no, we're good. We're very good. It was happy with that caller. Yeah. Happy.
Hey, Pizza. One thing that they brought up was that I'm your brother's keeper, and I thought that was interesting. Are you familiar with that catchphrase? And like I feel like I have known that phrase and used that phrase and heard that phrase used significantly more time in my life than I have even been thoughtful about what it meant. But somehow I just fit into certain conversations. What is your take on that? I'm your brother. I'm my brother's keeper.
Yeah, for me, it's just like it's kind of like just like watching your boys, like that you got your people. That's what that means to me.
What is the imagery? Because to me, and I don't know, it's because I am the child of hippies or that generation, but I immediately think of Vietnam for some reason, and like two guys in the trenches, hoping that the other one doesn't die
No man
first.
left behind.
I grew up in the like hardcore punk like scene, and that was a big phrase that they would use a lot.
Your brother's keeper. Okay.
Ex brother's keeper, ex. And to me, it was always like for me, it's like imagery of like fighting and shit. It's like never let anybody in your squad fight alone.
Okay.
That's what that means to me. I don't know.
Very interesting. Is there that sentiment inside of your community, Mimi, directly?
Well,
like a brother, a sister's keeper, a brother's keeper.
Well, when you say my community, do you, because for me it comes up with different, like when I hear all this, my brother's keeper, I have such weird toxic family stuff that it also comes up like the weird kind of like, we keep certain things in the house and like, we don't talk
Mimi,
about
that's
certain
what it-
things because like, and it's just like sometimes that shit comes
That's
a
what it
little
raises
toxic.
for me, actually. The brother's keeper. I've heard brother's keeper. I also am like, I've heard Sister's Keeper. I'm like, which one did I hear first? But yeah, Keeper is like like the Keeper's secrets.
Yeah, secrets. Yeah.
And I think
Yeah, and
that's
Craig,
like, again, in my family, it was the same where it was like, that was more the vibe of like Keeper is like there's somebody that's sort of beholden to being the secret keeper.
I agree with Mimi 100%. I agree with Mimi 100%, but also it's not always a bad thing. You know, keeping
for
something in
sure.
the house.
Oh no, I get it. It's just that, like, sadly for me, like those are the immediate things, and also it's because earlier, Craig, when you were talking about the basketball shorts, that like, ooh, the balls would oopsie fall out. Like a family member, like again, I was sexualized very young by family members, and like a cousin of mine, oopsie, we're playing cards, and like, oopsie, his balls fall out of his shorts, and like, we're just both staring at them, and it's just like, what the fuck? And speaking of, in the neighborhood, I would get bullied by the neighborhood kids, and he would join them, and he was my older cousin, and he should have been
Your
taking care of
keeper.
me and having my back.
He
And
should have been
actually,
your keeper.
He should have
yes,
been
there
your
was one
brother's
time.
keeper, bro.
Yes, he should have been my brother. He was like my brother, and I looked up to him so much. There was one time that they would play this game that like they would like like ball up like a ball of spit and like and like hold it, like not let it come out. But he let it come out, and I remember like the visceral reaction of it, like boom, landing on my forehead, and like and he's doing this in front of the neighborhood kids.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really terrible. So were these like neighborhood people that were picking on you?
Yeah, like where my grandmother lived, because you know, it was like the cool kids. Because I had the neighbor right next to my grandmother. I was friends with those girls, but there were like a lot of rich kids. They were like, I was like one of the poor ones of like this kind of like rich neighborhood, and I would visit. Like I didn't even live there, and I was very innocent, and I had moved around a lot, and I didn't have a lot of friends, and so I was just easy pickings.
Damn.
I hate that.
That's rough. I got picked on by some older kids, but it also felt like, and I'm not saying that this is what it was or this is the right way to remember it. It also felt like that was like my pass to being included, was like almost like a
Trying to
hazing
fight?
ritual. You know
I
what I
didn't
mean?
even, but that's the thing. It was just the hazing never ended with me. I never got
There was
got
no
let
introduction
in.
into the there was no like
I
passing
can keep
through.
going with the stories of shit that they did to me.
Pizza.
Okay,
You
now
never got in the club.
Was Pizza saying something?
No, I'm curious if like Pizza
Yeah.
like resonates with this, like what Pizza's experience with the like community in this way, and like
Yeah, I'm
the
sorry. I'm sorry,
of
guys.
community.
I used to bully. I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay.
you
I've
used
made
to
peace
bully.
with some of my
Okay,
bullies.
this is good.
And I
No,
would
this
love
is
to hear
great.
from the bully.
Yeah,
Please,
let's get into that.
heal my inner bullied child.
What would that
Bully
look like?
AMA, here we go. You're representing all bullies now, Pizza. If you have a question for a bully, you won't be able to talk to him directly, but you can call us later and hit us up. And I don't
Or
know.
like right in the chat or something.
Anyway, get on the line. But right now, we're talking to Pizza from somewhere in America, and Mimi Cherry from the. You know what?
Series of
I've
Fortunate
never
Events podcast.
that one. And look at those stickers. And
yeah. Pizza, we want to
we're
know about
yeah,
how
we're
you
talking
were a
about bullies.
bully.
Yeah, give us a
What
story.
would that look like?
No, I'm mostly just kidding. But I've always been like the smallest person in my class or my group of friends or whatever, and I've always had that chip on my shoulder. So I'm always like, I'll always test people, and I'll always like I've always had friends bigger than me, so I'm always like, yeah, they're gonna have my back. So I'm gonna
That's
fucking
the hustle.
call this big idiot an asshole or something. But usually I'll pick on like people that are either being racist or sexist or like being bullies themselves.
You're a vigilante justice.
Yeah.
You're not a bully.
Yeah, that's not bullying. I identify with you so much on this point.
But what I'm saying though is that that was not always the case. That was a transition. I used to just straight up be a bully.
Okay, can you tell us about that, please?
Please.
Yeah, dude. Like in middle school, you know those rolling backpacks that kids used to have.
Yeah.
Rolling backpacks.
Like
Yeah.
suitcases.
Yeah.
They were like
Fuck, are you
suitcases
guys
or whatever.
mechanics?
Well, it's
It has little wheels on it because you have so many books it'll break your back.
And Craig, it
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think,
So
after your time, you would probably not have seen. Sorry, I don't want to like, but it.
You know what? Don't age
Boomer.
shame me.
No,
Do
I'm
not
not. I'm not
age
age
shame me.
shaming. I'm just
Okay.
bringing context into shit that like rolling backpacks came in like at the
They
end
let
of
you
my
break
second.
your
I
back.
don't know. You know, back in my day, we used to carry our books.
Anyway,
Uphill
so
in the
no
snow.
transport.
rolling backpacks pizza. Yeah.
Anyway, yes, rolling backpacks.
So as they were rolling, we used to like kick the back of them, so they would like lose handle of their backpack, and we would say speed bump,
I mean,
and
That's
that was
kinda
really
annoying.
mean.
That's fucking
I mean,
annoying.
It's kind of funny.
because I was getting speed bumped, you know? And the thing is
Aw.
that you get speed bumped when you're a guy like me, you're getting speed bumped because I can't take it up a notch.
Yeah.
I can't turn it up because if I turn it up to a physical
100%, dude.
You're a mark.
then I'm fucked. So I
Mhm.
had to grit my teeth and desensitize myself from it, and then only then could I figure out how I was going to like manipulate that thing that they were doing into an own on them, which eventually I got there, but it took a long way to get there, and I had to be humiliated in the first place. It's like that George Costanza, you know, the shrimp the shrimp
The
store,
jerk
you
store
know.
called.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, what's the difference? You're the best seller. Hey.
Right. Anyway, it's that I had to adapt to like gain the methodology of my defense and like not.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that it's all fucked. It's all stupid. What I was doing
Yeah.
was stupid back then. I was
Low stakes.
it was like maybe not even that. It was just like I wasn't even thinking. I was literally just trying to be cool, you know, just trying to
Be cool,
Yeah.
divert the
accepted,
attention
a
from
part of
me.
the team. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really relatable being a kid and just like figuring out like hierarchy and how to belong and like all of those
Bro,
social
and a
dynamics.
poor kid from the
Yeah.
hood, like I wanted to be rich so bad. So bad did I want
Yeah.
to be rich.
Can you say more about that?
I'm more comfortable with myself.
Hmm.
About wanting to be rich?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what that looked like for you. Like were you surrounded by a lot of rich kids? Like were
What
you
was the feeling that you were chasing after that you
Yeah.
wanted to quote unquote be rich?
I guess just when I was young, I guess stability. You know, I didn't want to
Yeah,
come home
safety.
and make my own scrambled eggs after third grade, or you know, eat Pop-Tarts for dinner every fucking
Like,
night.
I was a
Sorry, what was
latchkey kid. I was a latchkey kid too. I came home
Mm.
to like not my mom pretty much, yeah, all my life.
Yeah, so I don't know. To be honest with you, I was just vain. I just wanted a lot of video games and fucking race cars and Pokemon cards,
You wanted the
Fair.
which I
trappings.
still kind of do.
Yeah. That's fair. I think that's fair.
It is. I mean, I get it.
And I think that like especially
Yeah.
when you're a kid, those things are tied to a lot of deeper things, you know? Like the kids who have those things have stability in a lot of other ways too, you know?
Their parents are still together.
Yeah.
They
A
got
lot
a
of
good,
times.
stable
Yeah.
life at home.
Yeah.
They
Ooh.
have a bedtime.
Oh,
Ugh.
not a bedtime.
Yeah. Well, this is really interesting because I think like there are so many assumptions that we make about people in, you know, certain classes, you know, that it like there's I think assumptions that like rich people have more structure and those things locked down in good family lives. And I'm like, I don't know, I went to a private school and those are some of the most fucked up families I ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as a poor kid, you don't know that though.
No,
You're
for
only
sure. That's
seeing
what I
it from
think.
the
No, I
outside
think that's what
looking
I'm
in.
speaking to, of course. And I think, yeah, every assumption you're making totally makes sense for a kid to make, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, no more bullies, guys. No more.
Yeah, no, we do not condone bullying over here.
Unless
Unless
you're
it's your
bullying
drag
like you're.
family.
Unless
Unless
you're
it's
bullying, somebody that doesn't deserve to be bullied.
well,
Well,
and that's go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, that's exactly how you win over the situation, is that because everybody wants to be on the side of the bully, because actually bullying is hilarious,
I
because
don't know if I ever wanted
hold
to
on,
be on the side of the
hold on,
bully.
let me qualify what I'm
Okay.
saying. Sometimes it doesn't come out well the first pass, and you know what, honestly,
Okay,
for
I will allow
everybody at
that.
home, consider that, give me a little bit of grace, because I'm
Oh.
just an animal, and I'm trying to figure it out, and my first pass
Like
is
the last
never
guy.
right, but I always dial it in.
That's true. You do.
And I'm movable.
True.
The point I'm trying to make is that it is there's something in our nature that loves, like, watching somebody get slayed, right? And I was going to bring this up. Like, I've been a part of a lot of different communities, and their version of the what do we call it that fraternities do? I forgot the term.
Hazing.
Like the hazing, whether it's good-natured or ill-natured in some, but let's just say either or. Like, there are rituals of that are kind of dismantling, you know what I mean? Like, they rib you a little bit to let you into the community.
It's a way of sussing
think of a
it out.
roast.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a roast or anything like that. So what I'm saying is that we love calling people out and, like, kind of putting their nose in it a little bit. So
Stand on
only
business.
when you're doing that for good, like, when you're reversing the bully, you're bullying the bullies, then you're like the hero, because you get that thing that everybody's looking for from the drama, but it's all for good. It's a good nature, because those people objectively deserve to be put in their place, right?
It's like a.
Is that not true? Is that not
what do you
true, or
mean?
is that just for me?
I don't know. I
No,
think
that's
this
true.
is some. I actually don't know if that's true for me. I would that I don't. Yeah, I think the assertion that, like, we all love to be on the side or see people, like, put in their place. Like, I actually, like, I've God, my secondhand cringe and embarrassment is so deep that I'm actually horrified sometimes when I feel embarrassed for
Yeah.
people who I objectively think are horrible people when they're like when their ass is being showed, that I actually don't think it's true that we all love that, or that's the way
Okay.
through
Okay.
it. Yeah. I get what you're
Okay.
saying. I'm not like
No,
disagreeing
that's fair.
wholly,
That's fair.
but I do, I just think, like, I'm somebody that actually never really delights in anybody having their, like, nose be put in shit, unless it's, like, in the context of a roast where everybody is agreed upon the thing that's happening,
Okay, so for
And
like
even then, some of those can be brutal.
I'm going to show my ass here a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay.
And
Show your
so-
feet instead.
Pizza.
It's the OnlyFans hour.
Yeah, sure. Join our
Feeding
OnlyFans. Wait, what was I gonna? Oh yeah,
You were
gonna show your ass.
You know what? I can't remember.
Or your feet.
But let me get back into this, because I think this is going to open up a whole nother portal.
Show feet,
I'm going
show
to
feet.
let's Chris, can you go to me? Okay, now that we're alone, I would just like to say to everybody, I'm having lighting issues, and so I'm a little, not exactly the way that I want to be presented at the moment, and I'm noticing that now that I'm fully on the screen. Anyway, we have a wonderful little treat that we like to do at every episode, just right around this time of night, and And I think that we have something special. I should have been a dancer. This is all for you, pizza. This is all for you.
Yes. And
It's all
me.
for
Thank
you.
you.
If you know, you know.
You have
Anyway,
such beautiful dancer's
I'm
feet.
definitely gonna rewatch this.
You have such a good arch. I'm like low-key
Thank
jealous
you.
of your arch.
Yeah, you have
I
dancer's
think
feet,
that
yeah.
too. And isn't it so disappointing that I think I have arthritis in one of my feet? I think it's a genetic thing, but
Well, that's dancer coded.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll
You should have
never
been
be
a dancer.
I should have
Yeah,
been a
dancers'
dancer.
bodies fall apart. Yeah, that's part of the thing.
You know what? I'll take it.
Arthritis, guys?
I'll take it. I like that excuse.
Arthritis.
In the meantime, while I nurse my ego and show pizza some more of my feet,
More foot.
why don't we go to nightly readings?
Oh yeah. I love nightly readings.
We're gonna go to a commercial and then we'll go to nightly readings. My face is
How to speak Australian.
Oi.
Keeper.
Shall we?
Absolutely. Beer. Foster's Australian for beer.
Shakey's Pizza Keeper. It helps keep our pizza hot and fresh, even if it takes you a little while to get home.
Shakey's Pizza Keeper. Oh, lovely. But what about the pizza? Take one home. It's still hot. Hot, fresh pizza from Shakey's.
Get a free 40-ounce soft drink with any family-sized pizza to go at all participating Shakey's.
Tall and dark, before the crashing sea. When shippers hailed to no reply, to the depths they did concede. Now here I stand in the beacon's light, with flotsam and debris. And some might say that all was lost. But it's not lost to me. Finders keepers.
cool. What up, Playjo? I'll be working that out. Valerie, that's our new nightly reading segment. We have
That was
original music
so
now.
fun.
As we mentioned last week, for those that are joining us again, we have a new member of the team in Brodie Rush, but we also circumstantially we have this accompaniment that showed up into our lives. Chris, can you bring in this? There they are.
He just kind of does what he wants.
Yeah, there they are.
Yeah.
What up, Playjo? I've been introduced. This is Playjo, everybody. Playjo.
Hi. What's going down?
Oh, hi.
I've been watching you, Craig. You in
Yeah?
particular. I've been watching you, and I'm not a bird. I'm just a little digital glitch. But I don't know if I want to say this over the. I'll call you later, and we can just get this over with. But I don't want to embarrass myself, really, because I've been watching you. Because I hacked into it. I hacked into your system, your blood system.
This is I'm actually really confused whether or not you were our caller earlier.
No, I don't have a voice changer like that other guy does.
Wow. Okay. Well, isn't that interesting? Because they did kind of. Okay. Anyway. Well, you know what, Playjo? It's a pleasure to meet you, and I understand that you are you're a musician of sorts, and you have a plethora of instruments in your little bubble. Is that a bubble? Proper. Oh, I get it. There's a sign. Okay, this is great. Just so we can get everything out of the way, how exactly shall we communicate? And exactly what do we have to expect from you being a part of our little thing here?
Well, I'm going to bring you different sounds at different times, and I'll tell you bad jokes.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Let's start now. You know what? I'm going to take a risk here. We didn't plan this out first, so this is live TV. Go ahead and try me here, Playjo. You got what's the worst joke you got for me right now?
Okay.
I know this is. I can't believe I'm doing this right now. This is like Russian roulette.
This is one of my classic jokes, too.
Yeah. Okay. Go. Give me.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got to switch out of. I got to go to bird voice.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Ready? Hey. Okay. What did the cow say to the farmer?
Moo.
Why you pulling my tits all the time? You never kissed me.
That's my fave. That's my classic joke. Anybody that knows Playjo knows that joke. Yeah. Yeah. A big round of applause for that one.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And that was on me, and I said it from the very beginning. But I like.
I don't know. I kind of liked it.
I like the vibe, and if anything, Playjo, we're all about carving out a little niche for the strange and maybe the people that weren't so accepted in other places, and you for sure are probably that. Yeah, there we go. And it's a great to have you on the team, and we'll send an open line for you, and let's see how this works out. Yeah, this is great. This is great for us.
People don't like that. People don't like that. No, they don't like that. But
oh, whoa.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm down.
Oh.
Okay, this is
I'll stick around.
Yeah. Why don't you just stick around? Maybe we can take a call. I'm interested in. I'm surprised that you even have. Wherever you're from, I guess they have cows because it would only be funny anyway.
Yeah. I'm Tulsa. I'm a Tulsa boy.
Tulsa.
Everybody knows I'm a Tulsa boy.
Everybody knows that?
Well, Tulsa, Pennsylvania. We have Pittsburgh, Kansas, and we swapped it up there. So it's our
Throw in the
sister
boo sound
city.
now. Throw in the boo sound now.
Oh no! Okay, fine. I'm gonna move around the screen a little bit here. Okay.
This reminds
Gonna
me a
use
lot
my-
of Bubble Bobble.
Okay, oh my god. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I feel like we could play a
I
whole
wanna-
game here.
I want to whisper something in Craig's ear since I'm over by
Ooh,
him.
we love whispers around here.
Okay. I love you, and I'm watching you.
If that was you, Playjo, because that gave me a real fright.
Cute.
Okay,
No,
well, you know
I
what?
wouldn't take credit for somebody else.
Let's go right into that, Mimi. You know, and
Yeah.
never one to be shy about. Let's move into your second podcast.
Yeah.
The Whisper
Perfect
Lounge.
Oh, my little
opportunity.
baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
My little baby spin-off that I'm slowly
Wait, can I
building
say
and
the
trying to get
thing?
off
Can
the
I say
ground.
the great tagline? Your secrets
Yes,
are
please.
safe with Mimi.
Yes.
I mean, it
thank
doesn't actually work
you.
if I say it because I'm not you. So you say it. You go now.
Well, and today I was cutting what is going to be the first of many little ad clips, and our chat friend Zomniac, I hired them to do some voice clips for me. So I was editing that today. So it's like very
Zomniac
much
is good at
co-
voices.
Yes, I'm really excited. But yes, please step into the Whisper Lounge where your secrets are safe with Mimi. Sofipod.com, SOFEPOD.com/whisper. You're going to find a link where you can send me your anonymous little whispers, your secrets. They can be funny, they can be scandalous, they can be nasty. Just send them to me because your secrets are safe with Mimi.
What if they weren't? What if there was like a heist? What if there was a heist on all the secrets that were sent to you? Then what, Mimi?
Thank you, little bubble bobble.
Thank you, Playjo.
All I'm asking is there an insurance policy? Are you backed by any?
Well, it's anonymous. The link is completely anonymous. I have no way of collecting your information.
So how
unless
do
you send it to
people
me
submit?
willingly.
Is it with their voice or do they write them out?
So you
Or how
can
does it
write
work?
it, you can send a PDF, you can send a little video, you can send a voice modulated, you can be a crow using a translator
cool.
and send me a video. You can be a bubble bobble and send me a video
Great.
with booze. Your secrets could just be booze. I'll use it.
So tell me, what is the most what is the craziest secret that you have received thus far? And let me just
I'm still collecting them, Craig. I'm still collecting them. I need
let me
people to
just be
send me more
clear,
little
because we're
whispers.
entering a new midnight hour right now, right? We're getting close. We're
Oh.
getting close to the midnight hour, and now is in hour 3. That's traditionally where we're gonna get a little bit
Things
weird.
get a little
Okay,
wacky.
we've brought in our new digital
It's the
character
witching
over
hour.
there. You know, witching. That's something very specific. I'm just saying we're down to get a little zany and maybe a little naughty, as you would say. So, what is the craziest secret that you have received, Mimi?
Well, you have to listen to the podcast when it comes out.
Okay.
Sofipod.com/whisper.
Okay. What Mimi Cherry as a guest on 5 on It Live. What is the secret of your life? What's a secret that, and in fact, something that's very interesting about this podcast, and one of the things that this talk show, God damn it, it's not a podcast, everybody.
I appreciate you being mindful of that and correcting your language.
Yeah, it's not a podcast.
Not a podcast.
One of the things that we spoke about was that, you know, there's a certain experience about having a wide audience that you can tell something intimately to in some way, and like once everybody hears it, like it's totally off your chest. So with that in mind, as deep as you can go, share with us. Give us a little preview of Secrets with Mimi. Like, what's a nasty secret that you've heard on the street? Spill a little tea.
What is a nasty secret I've heard on the street?
Or, you know,
Spill
you
the
could like
tea.
take the lead and maybe share something with us that you haven't shared with anybody else,
It's
or
a
that like you
secret.
want to get off your chest or something.
I mean, I am a relatively open book. I mean, a lot of the secret stuff is like the trauma.
So actually, I think maybe because I don't want you to be that put on the spot to like share a secret with us. I actually would be interested in knowing like what creating this kind of forum for people means to you. Like
Sure.
why you wanted to create the whisper thing for
Yes,
people to say secrets to.
yes, that's much easier for me to
You're
swim
welcome.
in. Because you're a professional, darling. Okay, so I'll take you back. We're in the Wayback Machine. Oaklash, trend alert. I mention it a lot. I got branded. Not really, but it's a tattoo. We were having the debrief pool party. Sorry, ADD. We were having the debrief pool party here a while ago. And there's like a changing of the guard, right? Like when the queers are leaving the pool and the straights are like reclaiming it. And so the straights are playing music. And then suddenly Careless Whisper comes on. And I start singing it to my friend. And the next day, I'm walking my dog and I'm singing it to my dog. And then suddenly I start talking to ChatGPT and I'm like, ChatGPT, what do you think about a podcast where people send in their secrets and we call it Careless Whisper? And ChatGPT said, oh my God, you're so smart. You're amazing. You're beautiful. You're gorgeous. Yeah. And then I was like, well, Chat, what about copyright? And Chat was like, yeah, you're also very smart. So here's some other names. And the Whisper Lounge was born with me walking the dog. And the idea is that I wanted to unlock a way to produce content by myself, solo content, if you would call it, without being OnlyFans. And so, and a lot of the solo content that I consume on YouTube is like a lot of reactor stuff, and it's very saturated, and a lot of it is like just people talking shit about shit, which is cute and great, but that's not me. I relate more to like being voyeuristic because I think everybody has shades of voyeurism in them, whether it's being exhibitionist or voyeuristic, and most people have secrets and a lot of them want to unload them. That's why therapy is a thing. And so I figured free therapy and I get content.
Beautiful explanation.
And it just felt authentic to me. You know what I mean? I'm like,
right.
Your secrets are safe with Mimi, just like rolled off the tongue.
I mean, I know when you first, told us about this in the chat and your secrets are safe with Mimi, I was like, God, like it's so perfect for you, and also for you as a person. It really does feel it in line with you as a person.
Yeah.
And I think it is really I love and cherish spaces where it's like, I don't know, sometimes you don't want to have to go through the whole being seen and identity shit to just say the thing out loud, Sometimes just like saying it out loud, really like literally having the words come out your mouth can be so helpful. And so I love that you are creating a space like that. It's cool.
And it feels like a fringe thing, but like inside fringe, like relatable fringe. Like most people could relate to this fringe.
Oh, totally.
I was sitting here thinking about the last time that I revealed a secret. That it was and it was a relief. And it wasn't it's not easy for me to think of one, to be honest with you, because I, like you, Mimi, I at least play as a I play like I'm an open book for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I definitely feel like I am an open book, maybe even relative to the way that I see other people acting,
Sure.
right? But I remember there was in fact, to bring it full circle, this podcast that links us, Keith Malley's podcast, Keith and the Girl. It's a great podcast. If you haven't heard it, he catfishes his dad who tries to fuck his wife. It's incredible.
If you support it, it's a good thing.
Yeah. And really, that's it in a sentence. But it's quite complicated and nuanced, and there's a lot of fillers. So I'd say check it out.
Yeah.
But I was a guest on one of his shows where there was a comedian that was speaking about an abusive ex, and as she was telling this story about like the abuses and the levels of abuses and from their perspective, and obviously I'm listening to it as like a listener, you know what I mean, and I'm totally empathetic, and I'm totally understanding their side of the story, and I would never consider myself an abusive type of person at all, but when she was referring to like this feeling like she was referring to his yelling as abusive, and then explaining why it was abusive and why it felt like abuse, and I was like, whoa, I'm not above that in a heated discussion, right? So that was and like gutturally, right? I was so embarrassed, and my first thought was like, I hope nobody ever saw that on my face. Like, I'm thinking about admitting it, and then like out of my guts, it just came out, and I was like, I fessed to it, like, you know what? I don't know if I'm an abusive person, and then to this audience of listeners, I had just admitted something so dark and non-representative of myself, and who knows how it was received or taken. But like I was being totally truthful, because for a moment I saw the other side of the coin, right? I saw outside of my perspective, and it made me abandon. By the way, even in this moment, like I'm working out this thought live in front of this audience and in front of you, and I'm kind of sorting through these thoughts. And just now am I realizing also, again, to an audience, there is this relief in it. Like there's no going back now. Like when we begin our show, there's something about doing something live and in front of everybody where, it's going to happen.
We have no other option but to work through whatever the fuck happens. And a lot is happening that we're working through live.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, yeah, there this like element of being revealing and sharing the secrets, even anonymously. Wow, so therapeutic, and what a great idea. So what was the last secret that you told that was a relief? Was there a situation maybe in your life?
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna let you just move swiftly past
okay
what you just said without me being able to like reflect on what you just shared.
Come at me, boo. In the meantime, call 712-345-6648.
It made me think of my last secret, honestly, but part of it is just like cycles of abuse and trauma, and so not to get into like
I mean,
no, it's a running inside, very inside baseball joke.
You're putting some.
There's a drag queen that does it, Trixie Mattel, on Queens Who Like to Watch, or We Like to Watch, where they basically react to like Netflix shows, and Netflix pays them to do it, and it's a YouTube show. And Trixie says trauma, and so now I say trauma.
And it's like, isn't that how you pronounce it in Spanish, right? Like that's
trauma.
How I know it. Yeah, trauma.
Yeah, trauma.
Yeah, again,
it's very Spanglish-y,
that's
too.
How
now that I think about it,
I love it. I mean, when I first learned Spanish and when I first heard it, I'm like, I actually I love it, like trauma. It's satisfying to say. So yeah,
it is. But yeah, no, there was something that like happened in my family, and like I was scared of the fallout, and I didn't say anything. I kept it in, and like I have memories of like being in the swimming pool swimming and like crying because I was scared to tell about what had happened. And it ended up coming out like in the heat of like an argument, and I just kind of like blurted it out, and then dealing with the fallout was a thing, and for a long time, and we're still low key, still kind of like there's still shades of fallout on it. And sadly, one of my fears came true of like how that person would react after I told them what happened, and they immediately went to defend that other person, and that other person was and it fucked with me for a while because I thought maybe I was like misreacting, and like I was the one that was like in the wrong, and like very like victim mentality and like falling on the sword. And it took coming home and telling other people, and let's say I told 30 people including that person, 29 said, "Oh my god, are you okay? That was fucked up." And that person who I was scared of how they were going to react, they did that. They defended, the
So yeah,
inappropriate person.
you're saying that in this experience, like the revealing of
So
this
to me, it's
made it
scary to
worse.
like reveal secrets because
Yes.
you just
Well, and I think this really speaks to, again, the space that you're creating, Mimi, where I mean, I've had to learn through therapy because I grew up again with a lot of trauma. And desperate to scream my secrets and tried to with unsafe people growing up.
Yes.
And there was no relief. So I think, Craig, when you say like, oh, you say the thing out loud, immediate relief, I'm like, it actually really depends on the context and with who you do the secret sharing with.
It could just be like a Pandora's box of
Yeah,
like,
where like your
shit.
worst fears are actually,
Well.
met. And I feel you, Mimi. I've had similar experiences of sharing with people that were not safe to share with. And I think that's why it's so important to create context and communities where we can say the things out loud and like they're held and not challenged or shamed or shut down. And I think,
Trauma.
Trauma.
Now I'm starting to sound like Count Chocula. Trauma, 1 trauma, 2 trauma, 3 trauma. You're fucked up.
Mimi Cherry, were you a Count Chocula, Booberry, or Frankenberry?
I was a Cheerios and cornflakes. And Raisin Bran. I low key love me some Raisin Bran.
But of the three, what
I
did you
didn't have
identify with?
I didn't have
Yeah, I also don't know what
which
you're
one do
talking
I
about.
identify with, or which one did I eat as a kid? Okay,
Like,
which one do
which
I
one were
identify
you
with?
attracted to? Like
So tell me them again. It's just I was never allowed to have them. So let me fantasize now as a child. Let me go back.
Count Chocula,
Uh-huh.
Booberry,
Uh-huh.
and Frankenberry. And don't tell us.
Are the sorry, I'm sorry, Canadian here. I don't know.
Oh,
No, these
that's cute.
references.
That's
Yeah.
cute.
And and like I grew up in
well,
Puerto
'cause
Rico,
there-
so like some things I also didn't get down there either.
Yeah, where I'm like the three things you're saying like sound all the same to me. I know the first one.
I know the Chocula,
definitely.
and the Blueberry and the Frankenberry sound the same to me too.
Yeah. Okay.
But
They're berries.
the blueberry
Playjo has
was it was never really available after a certain point. Like
the rarest.
you'd
of them all.
have the
I wanna
Was
eat
it all a
them.
part of the same brand?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They were
Even lived
different
in the same
monsters.
universe.
I didn't know.
But you just couldn't get blueberry for a long time, and
So
last year, the other year, they like did a 3-pack, and I was like, yeah, I didn't get it, but yeah, it was pretty sweet.
it's obviously like Booberry is a ghost, and
Count Chocula is
Frankenberry
a count.
is Frankenstein, and Count Chocula is a vampire, and so
I'm Count Chocula
what's
all day, every day.
cool
Then,
that
if that's what we're doing.
What's cool is that they were really serving children like that were monster aligned. You know what I mean? Like the monster, like we were talking about earlier in the show. There was, you got to pick your Were you a Lamborghini or were you a Ferrari Testarossa or maybe a Porsche 911? You know what I mean? That's respectable.
Or a dolphin.
Yeah.
Or a dolphin. Or a Count Chocula.
I'm Count Chocula all day. A, I love chocolate. B, vampires very me coded.
That checks out.
That's a great
That goes
answer.
in that, yeah.
And while we just let that resonate, that little
That made me hungry.
window into your soul. You know what? Why don't you go and get a snack or something like that, and we can, take any type of break. Meanwhile, watching a commercial. There we go. So bring it back to me, and then we'll go to commercial. And hey, you know what?
I think I might be. Craig, you keep taking over the sending us to commercial. Let me do it. I had to question because I'm a Canadian. I don't understand all your references. So hey, Chris, could you maybe show us something that I might understand?
Guess what?
What?
Can you keep a secret?
Maybe. What is it?
Come here. Look.
Wow.
See? Isn't it neat?
What is it?
I don't know, but I found it first, so it's mine.
What's that up there? Is that cheese?
Could be. It sure looks like something to eat, doesn't it? I wonder how this works.
Hey, don't touch it if you don't know what it is.
Why? What's wrong?
Well, I'm not sure. I just think that if we don't really know what it is, we shouldn't touch it. It might hurt us.
Well, then what should we do?
I know that some things are okay, and some things are not. And I think if we don't know, we should ask.
Ask who?
Somebody who knows about stuff like this.
Oh, you mean like Mom or Uncle Fred?
Yeah, or somebody else we trust. We don't have to be afraid, but we do have to be careful. Just because somebody leaves something lying around doesn't mean it's okay for us to play with.
Well, I found it, so I get to tell first.
Hey, wait for me. Race you home.
A message from Concerned Children's Advertisers.
What's your thing? Bugs. Everybody's gotta have a thing.
My thing's sound effects. Here's a T-Rex.
Nobody's good at everything. Everybody's good at something. What's your thing?
When stars
Wow, hometown heroes from a Missouri boy from Kansas City. You couldn't miss Monta at Odds, and it was such a pleasure to present them here. Check them out. That is from, I already forgot the name of the album, but check it out. It's in the credits. Look below. Go check out Monta at Odds, and happened to be directed by our very own Brodie Rush, who again has been providing us with graphic effects, all kinds of all kinds of stuff
I
behind
mean,
the
I just keep saying Brodie is a Swiss Army knife of a human, and
Brodie is a Swiss
every
Army
team
knife.
needs that.
It's
Every
just
team.
and there we go. There's our little midnight thing that's going on. I don't know where we're at. We're working it out right in front of you
Midnight
guys.
somewhere.
It's midnight somewhere. Mimi,
It's midnight everywhere.
It's midnight everywhere.
In our
Welcome
hearts.
back to our little show here. We have Mimi Cherry from the
Series of Fortunate Events podcast. This is good. We have a little thing going on. Hell yeah, look at those stickers. Oh my God. Join Mimi's Patreon so you can get fun things. Hey, Mimi, do you want to talk about your podcast?
Hi.
I recently did your podcast.
Yes, you're part of my podathon marathon sprint that I've been on. I went down to LA. I recorded with Craig. I recorded with YouTuber Nick DeRamio, and I recorded with Kiki Maroon, who you recommended me to, Craig.
Oh yeah, what a fantastic talent she is.
Yes.
I went to a comedy show that they did here in LA, and wow, it's just incredible. And I love comedy. I love burlesque, and to mix the two, you'd think would be difficult because it's hard to tell a joke naked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sexy naked.
We talked about
too.
that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
very
I can't wait to listen to that.
it's a very cool thing that she does. Also, I have worked in kind of vaudeville, burlesque, cabaret for quite some time. And just when you think that you've seen every single glove pull that you think you could see, she does one that I've never seen before. And it's a great routine, and I won't give it away, but I highly recommend her. And maybe your introduction could be through your podcast. What did you guys get into?
Well, she has a residency starting in October in Vegas, where she's going to have a show 6 days a week. And she's engineered, well, they have engineered, and now she's like finessing the details. She got a mechanical bull, and she had people form it into a giant balloon dog. And so she basically rides this giant balloon dog. And it's interesting because clowning is like a subsect of like kink and like, for example, Folsom and things like that. And I've never been into it like that. But she is a sexy, hot clown. And I had to tell her respectfully, I was like, with peace and love, Craig, you're not the only one I hit on. I hit on a lot of my guests. It's a bad habit. And I was like, you're like, with peace and love, you're a hot
Your
clown.
Honor, I'd like you to know that she just opened that door. And we'll get back to that. Proceed.
Well, you did it earlier a little bit. I was like, oh God, he's going to
Did
clock
I?
my tea.
Did I? Or did I save you from projecting?
I love the third hour of this show.
Welcome to 11.
Welcome to late night 5 on It Live.
On 5 on It Live. You want to get into it? Let's go. 712-345-6648. 712-345 on it. That's our number. And you can give us a call. And you can talk to me. You can talk to Mimi. You probably want to talk to Mallory. I mean, let's all be very clear about it.
All crows accepted.
Actually, no, I banned them.
Pigeons
for tonight, I think crows can be banned for the rest of the night.
Crows are banned for the rest of the night. Period.
I gotta talk to them tomorrow. get on the same page again, talking about boundaries and shit. But
have a murder meeting.
Have a murder meeting. Yeah, it's cool. We're getting to know each other. It's fine.
So anyway, you were hitting on them in your podcast, which is something that you do.
I was not hitting on Kiki, but I couldn't help but like low key tell her that she was hot. But I purposefully like did not, because I also like
That's it.
I touch people. Like you'll see in episode 100 at one point, I start going like this to Mama Celeste, and she's like, "Oh, keep going." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you like it when I pet you." And I couldn't help but zoom in. Like I edited a zoom in of just me going like
Well,
this.
let's talk about touching. That's
Yes.
a really
I love to
mean,
touch.
yeah, and it's so again, that's something that is like everybody feels differently about it. You know,
I've had to learn.
It's hard though. It is
Yeah.
really hard. Sorry, I just was thinking of. I mean, I'm sure Mimi would know about this. Drew Barrymore
Yeah.
on her.
Wait, what do you mean, Mallory?
No, just because
you mean interviews shouldn't be this close?
That was great. Hell yeah, baby. Yeah, I mean, she's become famous for like extremely imposing on people's personal space. Like she crawls on the floor, she's like laying on them, and like not exaggerating. And sometimes
she
it's
doesn't
sweet
have
and
healthy boundaries, and I think we
but
know that
but
about
again,
her.
it's hard. Like, how do we negotiate these things? Because I love physical touch, but only if with people that I feel safe with. But also, I'm never going to initiate, so I love when somebody initiates. But
I've
how
started
do you
learning
know?
that consent is sexy, even in
Yeah.
friendships. As I'll open another book. I was at a store and I saw little crows, and I almost bought them for Mallory. And then I had to take a beat and be like, let me ask them to make sure that they're okay with me just sending them a random gift.
And Mimi, again, that you thought of me in the first place, like my heart burst. And then that you thought to ask me for consent to send me a thing in the mail, even
learning.
better.
I'm trying to learn
love that.
consent is like a thing in many, 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 many ways.
And I think go ahead.
Here's an interesting thought that I have about that.
Yes, Craig.
Yes.
Because consent and contextualization, right? So sometimes the way that the consent is being asked for, or the way that the touch is now being acknowledged verbally, right?
Sure.
It could either sexualize the touching or not sexualize the touching.
Oh yeah, intention. It's all about intention.
And so then there's this second wave or first wave or sister wave of consent that is contextualization, right?
Yeah.
Now, to love to touch, to love to reach out, or to communicate physically when you're around somebody, often, even if not to the person that is being touched, but to anybody, let's just say, that is watching, right? They could assume that is sexual touching, right? Because of the nature of whatever is going on, right? Now, furthermore,
7, 1, 2, 3, 4,
7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on it.
Are you now fucking with me, Chris?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. No. Okay. Okay. Please continue. Oh yeah, we just had a little preview of the little possum birthday thing. It's live TV, baby.
That's why I thought we were doing a jingle all of a sudden.
And Mimi, you handled that beautifully. Thank you so much. Hey, Craig, please continue. I love the train you're on. So let's.
Yes, choo choo.
I forgot which train I was on.
Touch again, like maybe being perceived as sexual.
The sexual connotations of it all.
And so now, this is strange, and I just had this thought, and I hope I'm not like going too far off the rails here, but let's just say that sometimes the asking of consent is what is the thing that turns the touching uncomfortable. Like a caring touch, like to reach out to somebody and put your hand on their shoulder, right? Or even like rub it a little bit, right? In like a group
But some
setting
people
or
don't like
something.
that
Or
at all,
well,
which is why I've learned to
I
ask.
totally understand that. I totally understand
Yeah.
that. But now I'm just painting another picture that just popped into my head.
Sure.
So that type of like thoughtless touch, right? If that person then turned to you and was like, "Oh, do you mind if I touch you? Do you mind if I rub you? I like to rub you." Just
Well, no, wait,
that way.
wait,
What?
stop. Because you made it creepy.
That's
The
exactly
way
what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
but I think there's also a way to say like, is this okay? And like
Yeah.
period. Like end of sentence.
Yeah, it's a real I think maybe like it's a real vibe thing that like I hate when people like play ignorant around that shit, and I think it's the kind of person who would use asking for consent as like a move, where it does where they're doing it to like, well, I asked, where they're already doing the thing. Like it's that kind of who is probably already doing it and being like, oh, is this okay? Where it's like you already feel trapped and stuff.
You're weaponizing consent at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Sometimes.
Yes. But what I'm saying is that like is it, that there, and that's why I like sassed it up, right? I was trying to make a point that it's like an unintentional.
Well, I'm speaking from a place of actively practicing what I'm saying and trying to learn to get better. And yeah, sometimes it's awkward, sometimes it's weird, but 9 times out of 10, people are actually appreciative and like cute. And you can tell that like some people are uncomfortable with touch. And like I have to remind myself of that because my default is to, it's cultural in Puerto Rico. Like you walk into a room, saying goodbye can take 20 minutes in the party, depending on how many people are there, because you're stopping each person, giving them a hug, a kiss on each cheek. Like it's a whole thing. But not everybody's like that. And for some people, it makes them wildly uncomfortable. So I would rather ask and make it a little awkward than assume and touch and make somebody feel like really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think that there's a way of asking, again, I just okay, for people who are touchers, there's a way of asking where it's like not imposing or creepy or like after that, where it's like a hey,
I do it on the
I do
podcast.
this, and I sometimes don't notice. Like, how do you feel about that? Where you're bringing it up not as like a one sentence question, yes or no. It's it's the beginning of a conversation, and it's acknowledging of where you're coming from and where your intentions are coming from. Because also, I don't know, I've had like I've been on a couple dates where again I always like to check in around like when touch is happening, and again sometimes for me I do a check-in in like I'm doing this, I'm feeling this, like are we on the same page here that the touch is actually sexual or not, and I think
well, that's very important.
But again I think that it depends on the context, and there's a way to do it that's not imposing, where it's really just like the beginning of a conversation,
Exactly. Exactly.
And like if that's not happening, then yeah, it's like bad practice.
Because to me, it's just me trying to practice healthy boundaries and healthy communication. Because for so long, I was running on assumptions or like assumptions.
You know what?
Chicken butt.
This is a real treat. We're gonna add a fourth to this little party.
Ooh.
Not just that little. Thank you so much, but also to a return caller on the line right now. Caller, are you there?
I'm here.
Mallory, do you know who that is?
Do you know who it is?
It sounds like Monica.
My energy's a little different tonight. I am not gonna lie, so we'll see how it goes.
Monica. No, I recognize your voice.
Mimi,
I've
this
heard
is a
you
real
enough.
treat. This is our house caller.
I guess I was
our,
on a metal level, yes. But it's like you
oh
have to
my
get
God,
out of
are
your
you
head
with
and
Ashley
into
as
your
well?
body, you know what I'm saying? It's
Oh,
like
I
we
remember
all
them
have
from
that
last.
feeling
Yeah,
of
I remember
interpreting
them
our
from
own
the
sensory
last
experience. Like we have that ability to
show.
just pull out to such an
Yeah,
eagle-eyed
no,
view.
I'm alone tonight.
I mean,
Oh, then what is?
Oh, I think we
Why do
might
I
be
hear?
hearing Playjo might be doing some things. I
Oh,
think Playjo
I
might be
hear Playjo.
reminding
Okay,
us
okay,
of
okay.
last week's call.
Okay. So Monica, how you doing tonight? What's up?
Hi, Monica.
I'm actually just, chilling. Real low energy, chilling.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
How was
I'm
your
just
week?
hanging out with my plants. Avoiding
sorry?
my walls. Just hanging out with my plants, avoiding painting, you know? I'm kind of feel like I have a bad connection.
We hear you just fine.
We hear you.
Yeah, if
You
you're,
do?
yeah, it was a
Okay.
little rusty in the beginning, but you're coming through loud and clear. Did you
Got a
have you
little
been listening to
static,
the show
not gonna lie.
tonight?
Say again?
Have you been listening to the? I don't mean to interrupt. Have you been listening to the show tonight?
I have a little bit.
Yeah, and has anything kind of caught your fancy and got your brain working? I mean, you had to have called in for a reason.
Actually, I just didn't have anything better to do, so
Cute. I love that
I
energy.
love it. I
Matthew
love
the
it.
G,
You
we're
know,
go.
decaf is my kind of vibe. Don't give a fuck, and I'm appreciating. I honor the decaf in you.
yeah,
Decaf.
I've been a little busy bee all day, and so this is the first break I've taken, kind of, and
Oh,
I
nice.
figure I've been
Well,
making
thank you
this
for
a
taking your
habit,
break with
kind
us.
of. So I thought maybe I just call in and say hi, see if you want my
Advice?
opinion on something. If you want to talk about touching or
Well,
whatever the
Monica,
fuck ever.
Yeah,
the
give us your
topic.
thoughts on consent.
Yeah, consent, or like the topic is keepers. What else have we talked about tonight? Craig's feet.
I kind of like the touching
Lamborghinis.
consent thing. I feel like I have a hard time with that stuff too. I think it's a difficult space to navigate for sure. I think that I feel like personally, I can be very descriptive in boundaries and what I want and asking, but I often find that people just don't fucking listen, and
Rana.
like, people hear what they want to hear. You can say what you want and what it is all day, and somewhere in between of what they want and what they hear and what you say is what happens,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I was talking about, Monica, just before you called, regarding like pointing it out? Maybe it's just very difficult for me to kind of explain my thought. Like bringing up the fact that you're intentionally touching me, then it begs the question in my mind, like, then why, right? And like, to the tone of that response is how now I'm receiving it. And it like, whereas the touch, it wasn't about the touch, it's like the intention behind the touch, I guess is what I'm saying. And that's really
But
what
it's
I'm
always
trying to
about the
clarify.
intention.
Yeah.
Question or
Right.
not, it's always about the intention. Even the
Yes.
question can have intention. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's what I was kind of trying to get at as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like the question almost seems like a setup sometimes.
It can if
Can
you're
you-
weaponizing consent.
Yeah, and I'm curious, Craig.
Well,
can you
words can definitely complicate all situations.
Of course.
Truth.
Words.
So
Yes.
yes, you can ask for consent, but there is also an intuitive language and respect. I think that people
That's it.
don't.
That's it.
You know.
It's people that are only that then result to that being the only form of communication that they have to pick up and participate in. If you're not picking up the vibe, then I find it assaulting that you're even bringing up the question in a way, like that, like do you see what I'm saying? Like there's so much more to that nature then and sometimes, like I said, like poking it out and making something so obvious. And not that I think that consent is 100%. It should always be
I
part
think
of the
for
equation.
me, it's because I have had such a boundary-less life for so long, and I'm trying to find healthy boundaries. And so I might be overcorrecting a little bit, but I would rather overcorrect and learn healthier boundaries than assume that the vibe is cool because, hello, I default to like everybody wants me to touch them, duh. So,
Yeah.
but
And I
that's
think
not a
like
default.
yeah, and I think culturally, like we need to swing harder to asking than trusting that everybody's gonna pick up on the vibes. Because yeah, Craig, I understand what you're saying. Given like
And
I
I
know
think
you, I
there's
know that you
different.
don't need to do that.
I
but
get what
like,
you're saying. I wish
I just thought
Well,
I wish that was, I wish we could all operate on that.
I just thought of a perfect example that might
But
clarify what I'm saying. You walk into somebody's house, right? Like a housewarming party, and it's a stranger, right? And if I open up the door and somebody opens up their arms and gives me a hug at the door, great. I never even think twice about it, and it feels very good natured and accepting, and I feel the warmth, right? When somebody says, "I'm a hugger," is that okay? It's like, oh God,
but
you're
that's
putting me
not
on the fucking
asking
spot.
consent again, and that is, and I think that's a great fucking example, Craig. And I
See what
think
I
like
mean?
this is absolutely and a great example, and I think that's why I gave some examples of like how asking consent happens in like a like actual like well-intentioned way, because that is not consent. That is somebody be like, I'm a hugger. That's like, no, fuck that person.
That's somebody
Fuck
just
that person. Hate that.
justifying their
Yeah, and that's like
boundaryless actions.
exactly. It's like, I'm a hugger. Are you okay? I'm like, well, I can't say no.
I can't say no, but now it's
Yeah,
like,
and now I hate you because you're a hugger. Excuse me. Also, anybody who identifies that, I'm sorry, I don't like to shout at people, but like rude. But yeah, no, I think that's a really good example. And that's not asking consent. That is not asking consent. That is imposing who you are and being like, oh, is that okay? Instead of being like, hey, like, how do you feel about this thing that I am like want to do, or, is natural to me? Like, it's a very different thing. And it's like, yeah, it's a very, very different vibe.
Yeah.
And I think it's also circumstantial. I think it can be consent is very circumstantial. So
Absolutely.
like Craig's talking about, like, if you're not catching the vibe, like sometimes if you are in a situation where someone should definitely understand like the situation, or when you're walking into a room full of strangers, like there are different forms of consent. Like some of that needs to be more intuitive. Like some of it is more
I've
just
seen it
general,
happen so many times at bars where you can tell that the vibe is off on this like date between these two people. They're not talking at all. They're looking for an escape plan. Like the check is coming and they're not talking to each other. And you see this fucking douchebag put this person in a cab and say, "Can I kiss you?" And it's like that's what I mean. It's like there is more to this dialogue than just saying words out loud. And although on paper, like you're moving through the steps, you're breaking all of the rules because you're not listening. You're not paying attention.
Can I twist it a little bit? I have something to say that's weird that I do. I'm not
Monica.
I'm not a super touchy person. Like I'm really selective in who I touch. I feel like my sister intentionally touches me because she thinks that I don't hug enough. Like she'll like hug me goodbye or whatever, and every time I'm like, oh, she's
How
hugging
do
me
you feel
goodbye.
about
Okay,
that,
that's my sister. But the weird thing that I do is that I do feel really drawn to hug some people sometimes, and it's very random, and sometimes it's in bars, and a lot of times it's strangers, and I will do it, and then I won't let go. And I will make them hug me for like I will make them hug me for like the full, physiological change that occurs, like the whole 20-second whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll make them do it, and I love it, and I feel like afterwards we both just feel so much better. And I don't know, like I don't
I
know
am
how long
so
I've been
glad you're
doing
bringing
that, but
this up.
for a fucking while.
I'm
But I
so
just,
glad that
it's
you're
like,
bringing this
it's
up because I
changing.
have thought about
It's
this. I have
changing.
relayed stories of seeing you doing this. This is a very real thing, and I've seen it happen in real life, walking up to complete strangers and cradling them like a child, and they're resistant, but she persists, and they collapse inside of that love, and it becomes something totally different. Now, this is not an advertisement that anybody can go out and do that because you can't. You can't. 100% you can't. But try to communicate that to somebody and not fall into the complexity of like being thrown out with the bathwater. Like that is the ultimate breaking of rules. And yes, but also, and what is that? What is that gray? What is that?
Well, I mean, I think it's like the intuitive feelings that we're all talking about that makes consent a very gray area. And again, I have all the space and trust for a lot of people. Like I have people in my life who can do that, just like you, Monica. I'm like, that's beautiful. And I would, I don't know you well, Monica, but I've heard enough about you that I absolutely trust that you're leaning in ways where you just have a knowing in your body that this is what needs to happen in the moment. And I don't trust most people to do that, and I think that's why, like, broadly, having rules of asking is like what most people need to hear. But of course, there's like nuance and complexity that exists in that.
Yeah.
And I wish more people were connected to those intuitive senses and feelings in other people's energy so that we could all act like Monica, and just like pick up on the other's energy and like lean into the trusting of like, the communication that happens without words between two people, even if you don't know each other.
Who wants
Monica,
a hug?
what is it that you're sensing? What is it that you're like gravitating? How do you make these choices? Why is it okay for you to do that? What how can we define that?
I don't know. I just I feel like that's a really hard thing to put in words, but every time I do it, there's just a feeling, and it's just like I just know that like I kind of just have to do that, and it's just very pure, and then it's literally 30 seconds and it's over, and I could never talk to them again, and it's fine, But I just think it just feels good.
It's really. Do you do it for you or do you do it for them?
I feel that there's a need in them. I feel like in that moment there needs to be like a shift in energy, like a love shift, I think.
Yeah.
And as a lot of times it's like I could care less who those people are. Like I don't know them. I don't want to be
It's
their
like a
friends.
cosmic charge.
I never speak to them again. A lot of the time.
I like I said, just to elaborate, because I don't expect Monica to pat herself on the back, but I've seen this play out a couple times in like social situations. There's a lot of people around, and Monica has gone up to these people really, and for like 60 seconds, and 60 seconds is a long time when somebody is in the bosom of a stranger, and I mean, quite
Try
literally,
holding your breath for that
like,
long, because that's how
right.
some people feel.
Craig can.
Yeah, thank you. Like holding them there, and not holding them against their will, but keeping them past
20 seconds.
keeping
20
them
seconds.
keeping them past their like initial
like
guttural instinct
Yeah.
to cower away. But again, we're walking on thin ice right now, and this is like a trained professional. You cannot do this at home. But the point that I'm trying to make is that break, right? These people I've seen
when they do pull away, because they do pull
hold on,
away.
Monica, because I want to make this point and see what you feel about it. Because what I have seen on their face was was they were full of complicated feelings on how they were able to feel that intimate with somebody, and like love, right? Because they don't have the language for it. They don't know what they're sensing. And then she walks out of their life, and of course, but I can see them. They're compelled. They're like, what do? I don't understand how it got so deep, and it's ephemeral. How there's a great another point. Like, Monica, how do you express that? How is it that this is something that married couples can't get to for 40 years of a relationship with
Well,
children?
but
Oh,
that's
I
intimacy.
think
Those
that
are
we,
different things.
I think we're all very much capable of it. I really do. I think that, and when, because people pull away, you know, like you hug, they're like, oh, she's giving me a hug. Okay, it's over. Nope, it's not over. I'm still holding you. And then I tell them, like, listen, like, I'm just gonna hug you for like 20 seconds because it changes your physiology. And if they want to, and so, but sometimes they don't want to. Sometimes they're like, okay, this is where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And that's you
But after
checking in
I
for
explain
consent.
it, they'll like breathe through it, and it's, you know, and then it's fine.
And it sounds
But
like, Monica, like you're feeling their energy in their body, and like you know, aren't gonna like force them to stay there. But I do want to
Yeah.
like hone down on this, like the hugging, because touch was always a bad, dangerous thing. When I was a teen, my friends would say I was a bad hugger, so they got me like a really big stuffy to practice hugging on, which was like, that felt shitty. But I remember, you know, hugging, I always felt like I couldn't stay there, like I couldn't lean into it. It wasn't safe to lean into it. And the first time I felt somebody kind of maybe do what Monica did, which was like hug me and like tell me through their body, like, it's okay to lean into this, you know, like where I don't have to pull away or be like, oh, they want to stop hugging. Cause that's how I would always feel, is like, no one wants to hug. I need to pay attention to their body. I need to end it before, you know, they get uncomfortable. That the first time I experienced a hug where somebody just like held me, as I feel like I had a similar experience that Monica's giving these other people, where it's like oh God, I need to be held. I need to know that it's okay for me to lean into this.
It's when the oxytocin hits.
Yeah.
And that it's just
Yeah.
okay. You know? It's just okay.
Well, it's biological. It's a literal biological mean. That's why what I mean by the oxytocin. Like it releases hormones in you. It does make a physiological change in you, and that's one of those and we need it. It's something that we need to have pump through our body every once in a while.
There's something so relieving also about having that intense, that level of intensity of physical touch, and it's not sexualized.
Exactly.
It's to suss out, because it might even turn you on, but to realize that that's an involuntary reaction and not necessarily where you're at. It's not what
I
you're
love that
sharing.
you
It's
say
something
that.
different, you know?
I love that
I
you
mean, do
say
you
that, because
agree?
I love non-sexual touch.
Yeah,
There's something like
me too.
And maybe this, to bring it full circle, maybe this is going back to like my original kind of thought, and it does feel like it almost always seems to me to be edged with sexual intention or sexual hindrance or sexual acknowledgement or awareness or sensitivity. And these are the things that sexualize the act for me, which makes it almost ultimately always uncomfortable.
That totally makes sense. And again, I think this is where it's like, I love that we're all talking, because I think we all agree. And then they're zooming out and thinking about the culture we grew up in. I was sexualized way too early as a kid. Mimi, you were, and like forced to hug, like, creepy adult, you know. And so I think there's like negotiating this, where like touch for me was necessarily sexualized as a kid. So how am I supposed to grow out of that? How am I supposed to trust that like I can have non-sexual touch, even though that's like all I want? Is
for me, I
like,
don't respect it.
Yeah.
Can you say more,
I have a
Monica?
hard time respecting my sexual relationships. It's like I
Oh.
have the people that I love and then the people that I have sex with.
Whoa.
You compartmentalize them very differently.
I
Whoa, that's
just
deep.
cherish and value my friends and the people that I feel safe with that transcend time. They don't end. They don't end because we're not sexually intimate anymore, and those are just my most cherished and valued relationships, and I wouldn't want to muddle those, and and it's hard to, I think, for me to open the door to both. That's like a risk. It's like,
Whoa.
I don't know if that's worth it. I don't know if it's worth it. I would rather maybe just love you and keep you because you're so amazing, and not have that interfere with our future,
Yeah.
Yeah, I relate to that a lot. Yeah.
On
Yeah, I'd
the
rather just
nose. Now
Yeah.
let's zoom out. Outside of our little
Out.
bubble here, outside of our little community here at Five on It. Try to explain that and get them to believe or understand that you're not coming at that entire thing, that this isn't some sort of pseudo intellectual like definition that you're putting onto it to trick the world into thinking that you can sneak in with your sexual instincts, because at your core that's all it is. And in a way, I wonder, because you were just talking about how it's hard for you to respect that sexual urge, and I've been criticized for this, and I've been kind of trying to kind of come to terms with it. But to me, like when people say, generally, when people say it's my instinct or it's my nature, it's our nature, and I know what they're trying to communicate, and I understand the sentiment, so I'm not busting balls, but in my head I'm thinking like, what good has man done on instinct? It's all been the intellectualization of our kinetic, what our potential energy can be used on, and going against our instinct and using it for something that's much more efficient and useful and decent in a way, and I realize that doesn't go across the board for a lot of people, and they really kind of hone in on their instincts and their nature. I'm not disputing that, but generally in my mind, it feels, I don't respect my urges. I respect my thoughtful nature to decide on what I'll act on,
I feel like that is you respecting your urges. I think like that in itself is, and
Yeah.
again, not separating them as two different things, but sort of, again, I loathe when people are like, "Oh, we're just made this way. This is just like," I'm like, how are we supposed to know? Like, we've evolved so much, and like also science has been so wrong in what they tell us around like who feels what and when and for what, you know. And I think the best we can do is like when we feel something like natural urge coming up is to filter it through to the best of our ability, like how do I want this to show up, how will this serve me, like how will this impact the people around me, and not just be like, this is an urge, so I guess this is just me, I can't do anything about it. Like that's fucking dumb.
And once a relationship like crosses that threshold, and like that touch, the nature of it becomes unresistant to the sexual desire, right? That might even be there in the other type of relationship, but it's a desire that is redistributed into another type of interaction.
Well, I think that's like a really important thing to include. I think we, again, Monica, I'm glad you called because I'm remembering our call last week where we did talk about, again, the hierarchy in terms of like relationships and stuff. And that like we have been told, I mean, not every culture is this way, but I think,
I feel like I should be
for all
taking
of us,
notes
that
because
where like sexual
like,
necessarily is above, sexual romantic is tops, and that they must go together. And I think that's like bogus. I like that goes against everything that I feel, and it's like not helpful for anybody. And I think it like excuses a lot of bad people for what they do around their sexual romantic urges. And yeah, I don't know, I just love that we're having this conversation, guys.
I think that like I'll be the first to tell you that like I'm a wild animal, you know? Like
hell yeah.
I think we're wild fucking animals. I love my intuition. I want to be more connected to that part of who I am. And I work hard to do that, I think, on a regular basis. But I don't think it's they're not exclusive. I think that, you know.
Exactly.
Like
it sounds like you do it really responsibly.
They're not exclusive.
Monica.
Like you just have to know how to harness, to boundary, to know what's good, what's bad, you know, like just control it. And that's been, you know, the thing for a long time. If we're talking about like sexual things, like the like Taoism, men would like only come every 6 days or something, you know, because they want to harness their chi, harness your energy. If you're, you know, coming all over the fucking place, then you're just losing all of that chi, all that energy is not being used for what it needs to be used for whatever your purpose is.
Right. You know, why eat lobster every day?
Great analogy.
Well, I mean, I like it does, because if you eat because okay, the inclination there is that because lobster will cease to be amazing and buttery and beautiful, it'll just be like another rubbery giant shrimp that I'm chewing on, right? So like, yes, that there is a desensitization that we harness in our general, like the way that we taboo sexuality, the way that we hide it from others, like these secretive kinks or interests that we have sexually. All of these things come out in very weird ways with people, and it's the anxiety of them being so excitable and in the moment and wanting to get there, but not knowing how to get there and not knowing how to communicate or walk through all of these feelings like we do, not being able to be an animal, but also be aware that you're being an animal and make a choice to be that animal.
Yes.
And be that animal inside of, you know, some sensible parameters.
Well, yeah, and I think this is where I get my problem is like when people, nobody here, but like use the excuse of like we're just animals, but also love to say like we're the most intelligent ones, and it's like so if we are, then like we necessarily should be like merging these two things of like if we are so intelligent, like then it is on us to figure out like where these things are coming from, how to hone them in, how to respect ourselves, how to respect others, how to figure out like what does the community need, what does the person I'm next to need, you know? Yeah.
Well, you know what, Monica, you've done it again.
Yep.
Yeah, Monica, thank you so much for calling.
You call in hour 3. You own hour 3. I think
You
it's
really
safe to
do.
say you are
It's the Monica hour.
Yeah, you are our hour 3. Monica, yeah, you're really aligned for us, and what a great topic and thought to. I hope it's, you know, this is the
Oh, can I tell you something about myself? Can I tell you something about myself?
Give it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we leave the gates open for you.
Of course.
Okay, so I started doing this, and I've told Craig this, I think, just like in text message or something, but because I am exercising my throat chakra. Have I said this to you before? Usually when I call him, I'm pretty drunk. So this time...
You haven't
I don't think you've said it on the show before, no.
Okay, yeah. I have a blockage in my throat because I have not been speaking my truth, but I hate fucking saying that. I hate fucking words. But like, there's a block in my throat. I haven't been saying all the things I need to say. I've been quiet when I didn't need to be quiet, and so I've been trying to consider different ways to open this. And I thought about reading poetry online, which I found a really kink genre on YouTube, and trying to research that. Another story for another time. But this is really helpful for me. I never watch. I never watch the show I'm talking, and I've never listened to it, and I think it's probably for the best. But it does help me. You guys are helping me too, is basically what I want to say. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's hopefully providing some sort of yet again, we're trying to create a habitat here for people like us. And one of the greatest things that, and it's happened twice here in my mind tonight, and thank you, Mimi Cherry, for being such a great guest and being able to ride with these really hot topics and very sensitive topics that I feel like we have discussed in a nuanced and complicated way that I haven't been privy to. Not certainly in a forum that's this open and vulnerable. You know, like we're putting ourselves out there with some pretty complicated things, and I really enjoy the way that this conversation has formed and the openness and vulnerability that you just put yourself in, Monica, kind of bringing this thing to light. You, Mimi, for bringing up some very personal things, Mallory as well. Like I hope that those of you that are out there listening to us right now, that somebody out there is feeling it as well, and this is helping in some way.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Thanks, Playjo.
Perfectly suited at midnight on the West Coast. We can bring the show home now. Before we let everybody go, Playjo.
Hello.
Good to see you again.
Hey.
Any thoughts on what we discussed? Try not to be crass.
Oh yeah. No, I'd like to share some 2 clips of just from tonight, and let's hear one of them now.
Okay.
So I thought maybe I'd just call in and say hi, see if you want my
advice,
opinion on something. If you want to talk about
oh, this is weird to hear myself back.
Monica.
And it's very quiet. But
yeah, I'm still.
Okay,
well, they weren't talking so loud.
Now I'm loving this. I'm loving this. You know what? Were the levels bad? Are you listening at home right now? Are you in the chat? Can you help
I'd like
us
the
out?
levels. Just on my end, it's hard to get the right volume. It's just sort of like as it is. Well, let's share one more clip real quick.
One more. Okay.
Great. Yeah, let's give it one more try.
Maybe 15 seconds worth. So we'll have it at that. Here we go.
I feel like personally, I can be very descriptive in boundaries and what I want and ask.
Oh, well, that's what that one was.
Well, you know what?
We're just sharing. Oh, sorry.
And actually fantastic, because I think that we can safely say that Monica, you own the night here at 5 on It Live.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your calls. Thank you to everybody else that called in as well. Pizza, the weird stalker
Ivan.
guy. Yeah, Ivan. And most of all, Mimi.
Thank you
so much for being here.
And check out a series of Fortunate Events Pod. Follow Mimi Cherry.
Follow Mimi Cherry at Instagram. Do we have a low third for Mimi? No? It's okay. And we'll be back next week.
And producer Chris killed it. And thanks, Brodie.
Yes, thank you, producer Chris.
Thank you, Brodie. Thank you, Playjo. Thank you, audience.
Thank you, Brodie.
And
hey, thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Mallory.
And really, really, really quick, because they're asking in the chat, the new thing is the Whisper Lounge. The Whisper Lounge for your secret.
Tell them your secrets are safe with Mimi.
Your secrets are safe with Mimi.
Roll that credits. Bring up the music.